click the link, watch the prick, yeah, he's doing a bit. Another takedown video, another pile of shit. Higher Russell metrics, got him foaming at the mouth. The whole goddamn industry is headed for the south. Anonymity's a weapon and the safety is off. They're coughing up venom just to hear them all cough. It's a winner take all, digital brawl. Watch the appreciation hit a goddamn wall. Stuck man, tried to change, tried to find a new path, but the machine amended blood, it demanded the wrath. It's a toxicity trap, it's a hole in the head. Keep them angry, keep them fueled, keep the empathy dead. Welcome to the rage bait economy. Drowning in the piss of the fray. Fuck the machine. I'm looking for a dialogue, a place to belong, but the algorithm tells me that I'm fucking wrong. Feed the machine, feed the machine. Keep the metrics high, keep the soul obscene. Feed the machine, feed the machine. But there's a light in the basement, a glitch in the code, a different frequency on a different road. When the poison takes hold and the world turns black, Hollywood after dark is how we take it all back. It's a digital anti-venom, the cure for the rot, giving us the fucking truth that the algorithm forgot. Real names, real souls, no performance, no lie. Watching the critique economy finally die. Community, not the metrics. Spurring to the void, tear the wire out, only one after dark. That's what it's about. That's what it's about. The fucking cure. Welcome to the rage bait economy. Drowning in the piss of the free. Fuck the machine. I'm looking for a dialogue, a place to belong, but the algorithm tells me that I'm fucking wrong. Feed the machine, feed the machine. Keep the metrics high, keep the soul obscene. Keep the way, keep the way. The scar to hate, find the depth. The machine is hungry, but we're not fucking eating.
It would help if I put myself on the screen. What's going on, everyone? How you guys doing? It's Thursday night. You're probably going, what in the ever-loving goddamn hell is he doing live on a Thursday? I didn't have to work tonight. It would have been great if my bosses would have told me that. You know, I think I mentioned this last night during our epic 5-hour stream. I wasn't going to stream tonight, but everyone's already in bed. I ain't got shit else to do, and it's like, yeah, I don't know. Might as well. You know, you might be thinking to yourself, why don't you go see a movie or something? Why don't you leave the house? I've got like $50 till payday, and I'm not too sure if that's tomorrow or on Sunday. So I'm kind of playing it light tonight, you know? This is the problem with being an adult. All right, you work 175 hours in a month, right? You're waiting to get your paycheck, and then you're sitting there going, right at the end, going, God damn it. You know, anyways, this is how it is. But I was, you know, last night was fun. A lot of fun last night. Great conversation with Chris. He's always welcome. If he wants to jump on tonight, he can always send me a message, and then I will do that. Crazy Joe texted me like right before I went live tonight, just a few minutes ago. He texted me like a half hour ago. I guess they're over on Eric's stream or something like that, talking about Robert Meyer Burnett. Yeah, I mean, so they're welcome here as well. But tonight I wanted to touch upon the subject that I was trying to get to last night that didn't quite happen. And that, of course, is the subject of positivity versus negativity in the YouTube space. And is it possible to go back into a time when it seems like it's just more fun? And it seems like everyone's having a ball over on Facebook, which is weird because it's Facebook and you're like, how the fuck is that even possible? but it's true. And they have roughly the same amount of monthly active users, right? Both Facebook and YouTube somewhere operate in the realm of about 2 billion monthly active users. And, obviously both websites being social media in mind, because that's basically what they are. Even YouTube is more or less a social media feed. Anything that does get an emotional response is something that, well, they're going to want to push out even more. So when thumbnails are designed to be emotionally evocative and gain your attention, it is definitely something that will probably fare better in most cases versus the actual content. And it's harder to sell something that's positive versus something that is negative. Even though all things considered, we use more muscles in our face to frown rather than we do to smile. So you would figure that would actually be more physically taxing and physically exhausting to be upset about shit, which it is. But people still tend to find themselves seeking out the negative when they're online for a number of different reasons, in my opinion. I've been doing this now for quite some time. My honest take on it is there's a fair amount of people out there who really do just want to be mad. And a lot of it is very, very much about the fact that they're not happy in their own life. And so they have to find an outlet for that anger. And the outlet that they find, attacking what brings them ultimately joy, is something that is very unhealthy, but very lucrative if you know how to lie to people for money. And when you've got former meth dealers that are really good at selling people stuff that they get addicted to, kind of ruling the show over there, you can kind of see why this kind of shit goes down the way that it does. But that being said, I always like an open conversation. I always like to put it out to you guys to see what you think, what you feel about a lot of stuff. Obviously, I'm being a little provocative, right? Saying AI destroyed movie talk on YouTube, but can it be its savior? That's an honest question. And the reason why it's an honest question, my friends, has everything to do with the core thesis behind it. The algorithm, machine learning, ultimately artificial intelligence, is largely what controls everything behind the scenes. So the AI seeks out things to suggest to you that are based upon your past search history, as well as things you engage with. So if you engage with stuff that's negative, especially stuff that is emotionally evocative, as I just mentioned, it will then serve you up that content. But there's got to be a way to alter that, to get in there and to tweak it in order to be able to then serve up more shit that people want to see because they like it. And I really, really, really wonder. I really, really, really wonder why that's the case here. I'm sorry. I got fucking, am I dropping the link? I might. Parallax here. Wow. Who are you trying to piss off tonight, man? It took almost 24 hours to discuss the topic only in Hollywood After Dark. Well, that's kind of how it goes. TikTok is not necessarily tainted. I mean, it is if you view it from a political standpoint, but that is just, again, that's the politics of it all. But I want to go back to this parallax thing here. Who are you trying to piss off tonight with that Ella Purnell photograph, that Ella Purnell avatar? Who are you trying to make upset? And I wonder why. Is Hollywood After Dark where the days of our lives, a soap opera between two boys on the opposite ends of the countries and what can only be described as the gayest version of heated rivalry actually fucking plays out? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Let's see here. Jess says, speaking of provocative, I have seen less goonery on Facebook. Yeah, there's a fair amount of well, the thing is, I think on Facebook, no, there's goonery, dude. Trust me, it's all in the reels section right now. It's all in the reels section. That is where you get a lot of that stuff here. I was trying to take our friend, this the girl that I've got in the thumbnail there. I was trying to take that and turn that into something like a bit of a promo. This is what I was. What are you talking about? I don't know. Gee, I have no idea what I'm talking about. I never know anything, Parallax. Not at all. Don't know a thing. I am just deaf, dumb, and blind. My head in a hole. You can call me an ostrich. That's what I fucking am, because I know fucking nothing. Jeez. Anyway, this is what I was working on before going live.
Welcome to Hollywood After Dark.
Oh, wait, that's not even on here. Hold up. It'll be on this side.
Dark.
Oh, hold on. So I like it, but I don't like the weird woo 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 at the very end there. Hold on.
Welcome to Hollywood After Dark. After Dark!
It's creepy, but I should have her speak sweet nothings to Donovan. There's also this one.
AI, the savior of movies?
I just wanted it. Here we're just gonna roll it silent. Can I put it on the loop? No, I can't. Oh, well, there you go. It's this is Grok. All right, same
Welcome
woman.
to Hollywood After Dark. After
There we go.
Dark.
There we go. All right. So yeah, we have her dancing. This is, I guess, the new mascot. I'm kidding. I just figured goonery is the only way to get some of your guys' attention. It does look. It looks too cringe. That's very true. Let's see here. Big Dog Gaming says, good AI that is well done is making YouTube pleasant to be on again. People are now seeing these grifters for who they really are, and they are casting them away. I don't quite know if the algorithm is working on that. I do think that there is a shifting. And there's a weird thing I read about a while back, and I'm not too sure how I believe it, but I do think there is an element of it that is potentially real. And that is, you can see the ebb and flow of these things depending on who's in office, right? So you had the feminist stuff come out, the social justice warrior stuff happen, all of that stuff, the culture war start to take off in 2012. Right. Well, who was president at the time? It was fucking Barack Obama. Right. And then it ramped up. And then, of course, we get Trump, and Trump was kind of like the byproduct of all of that. Right. The culture war very much led into Donald Trump getting elected. And then you get 4 years of that. Right. And it's still bad because COVID just fucked everything up. COVID made people really angry and scared. They were angry and they were scared. Much like a small child from Orange County who I believe might be lurking. Very scared all the time, never leaves their house. But people couldn't leave because of COVID, and I'm pretty sure that drove this particular person's mother insane, based upon her social media feed, and she's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. But anyway, the idea there is that with Trump and everything else, it amplified the fears. And I think that amplified a lot of the where certain things went in the culture war. And that was still then egged on 4 years of Biden being in charge. January 6th was an inside job. It never happened. All that kind of nonsense. The election being stolen, all of that stuff very much present. And again, very much pushing the culture war. And then now we kind of hit I don't want to say we hit a tipping point where it's going away, because I don't think it's going away, but I do think that it's slowing down. I think that there are people out there that are realizing, for one, they're getting older and they kind of go, why the fuck do I care about this shit? For one. And then two, you've also got people that are kind of waking up to the culture war and realizing how much bullshit it actually is. You know what I mean? And it's kind of a factor with that one. That's kind of the way I view it. Let's see here. Big Dog Gaming. Thank you. The short Star Wars AIs are bringing real fans together again, taking good things about Star Wars, or talking good things. And I've said this before. I think I put out a short about it saying that Star Wars needs AI. And that's very true. The fact that Star Wars fans have taken it and have gone to what's it called? What's the word I want to use here? They've gone and they've made all these stories on YouTube. They've used the AI to be able to go out and really kind of talk about, stuff that would have happened in the original trilogy, post the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy. If you notice, though, really nothing about the, about the sequel trilogy, because nobody really wants that. You know what I'm saying? And so, and I don't think people really, I think deep down, most people, the people who want Star Wars, I don't think they want that necessarily, if I'm being honest with you, and so that is something that I just, I think is reality. And I think Lucasfilm knows that now. I really do. I think Dave Filoni knows that. I think Jon Favreau knows that. I think all of these guys know that. And so I also feel that what you've got is, yeah, okay. What you've also got is a situation where They're getting these stories that they want. Sorry, I got distracted for a quick second. They get these stories that they want, and then that brings them together because this is what they've wanted all along. And I think when it comes to Star Wars, that's what people have wanted all along, right? It's always been original trilogy shit, right? Whether it's pre or post or during, it's always been that. Like you can't like sit there and be like, we need to move past this when there's so many more stories to tell in it. You don't need to go back to the High Republic with the Acolyte. Okay. You could set it before the Phantom Menace and just have it tie in, like, lead into that, the rise of Palpatine sort of thing. That would be kind of cool. You could have it be where the Mandalorian is, post Return of the Jedi, but still in that framework. People wanted to see more adventures with their favorite characters. That's what they wanted. It's very simple. It's very simple to do. And I think recasting would have been okay. I think all the shit, but now since Lucasfilm chose to engage with, promote, and really work with the deep fakes, which is AI, that we very much are seeing ourselves getting more of it. And I'm very happy about that, right? Star Wars Visions has many good ideas. And yeah, I don't disagree. Star Wars Visions, Star Wars Visions, I think is good for the Elseworld stuff. And, usually I go against Elseworld, right? And so there's that. I love this here. I have to just point this out. Donovan Martin. This is not Donovan Martin. This channel was created on January. What was this here? January 22nd, 2026. So it's somebody who's trying to LARP as Donovan, even though Donovan is here watching. It's not actually Donovan. It's not actually him. Anyway. But we all want post sequels. What are you talking about? You want post the sequel trilogy, or what do you want? This is Once Pie. Also Exo Squad renewed. But I feel like Star Wars can maybe find its footing again by going back to the basics and what made it work in the first place, which is telling the story of the original trilogy. It would be like if they were going to reboot Indiana Jones, would they do it with the Nazis? Probably. Would they might do it when he was younger, which would be around World War I? Maybe. And then lead into the Nazi shit. Okay. But he's always been an archaeologist. The idea of someone like Indiana Jones, it doesn't necessarily fall into the same mindset of let's say Jack Reacher. And there's this weird thing that a lot of older people like, and a lot of people like in general, and it's called competency porn. Okay. We all know who it is, actually. I believe I know who it is. Anyway, competency porn is a real thing. Okay. So Lee Childs, who writes the Jack Reacher stories, really tells us a very formulaic story over and over and over and over again. Right. And it's, Jack Reacher kind of on his own, drug into something, ends up having to kind of reluctantly join and then reluctantly fight and then save the day and everything else. If you read a Jack Reacher book, or you watch a Jack Reacher movie, or you analyze a Jack Reacher series, you start to notice the same pattern. It's always the same pattern. And this is a pattern that comes largely out of pulp fiction. And it's something that's been utilized, right? I was watching a video the other day breaking down the storytelling of the Jack Reacher stories. And I started immediately thinking about the movie Rebel Ridge, because all of the plot points that it was talking about, all of those high area plot points, you could apply 100% to Rebel Ridge. And I was like, man, Rebel Ridge is a really good fucking movie. And this story arc, this breakdown follows everything that was there. Same exact story, same exact formula, same exact everything. Now, if you're not looking for it, you're not going to fucking see it. But by and large, that is in some ways algorithmically created because it's the most preferential for the reader. And readers, all things considered, enjoy, movie watchers too. If you ever, a lot of people like there to be the MacGuffins in the story. They like there to be the easily identifiable twists, the things along those lines, because it makes them feel smarter if they call it out. Right? Oh, I knew that was the bad guy. Oh, I knew that was the killer weapon. Oh, I knew that was this. I knew that was that. Because these movies are all structured formulaically. And what's a formula if not an algorithm? if not some form of artificially based intelligence that we use to really kind of run everything that we do. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up is, for one, to give you guys an idea as to, just kind of like how stories are told, but to also really kind of touch upon the concept here of like how we're fed a lot of the same stuff because they know exactly, all right, they know exactly how to give it to us in a way that we enjoy. The downside now, and I started thinking about this, the downside now to all of this stuff has everything to do with that there's just such a massive overabundance of shit to watch. And not all of it is going to follow the same formula, but a lot of the stuff that's really popular, a lot of the stuff that you watch, a lot of the things you grew up with, a lot of that, everything was very heavily inspired, if not outright completely lifted from the type of stories told during the pulp fiction era from the 1920s to the 1950s. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you gotta like look at that kind of stuff. Even movies that are going to be coming up this year are going to follow a very, very, very straightforward plot line. And it's going to be something that is going to be largely identifiable. Because Hollywood is right now very risk averse. So they don't want to go outside of the norm of what they know will sell. Every once in a while, they'll take a shot and it might work. But for the most part, it doesn't. And even then, it's like, then they have to try to find a way to capture lightning in the bottle twice. And that's where it gets into the sequel systems. And if you go back and you watch the movie Last Action Hero, they actually kind of make fun of that a little bit. There's a great line in Last Action Hero where Arnold says to Danny, like, I keep going up against these harder bad guys or something, right? And I keep winning. And he's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, that's why there's 4 movies in the franchise, right? I mean, I'm forgetting the exact scene, but that's by and large why these things are happening, because they have to up the ante every time. They have to make it more, more dangerous for the hero, but they still have to follow the same tropes. It's kind of crazy. Most stories started from the Romans, but yeah, okay. I think you're missing the forest for the trees on that one there, buddy. Jess here says, streaming has killed a lot of movies and shows. We lack the water cooler talk about the 4 or 5 main channels people can talk about. Well, that's kind of the other side of that as well. And, YouTube is not necessarily what you would call water cooler talk, because it's not you going up to somebody and being like, hey, man, did you see this thing? It's going to be like, hey, look at me talk about this thing while we do that. Whereas on the Facebook side of things, that's more water cooler. But, you have an infinite amount of water coolers, because there's an infinite amount of groups and there's an infinite amount of threads. And sometimes they're good and sometimes they're shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's not always going to be good. It's not always going to be bad. But the more I've been thinking about this the last couple of days, the more I've really been trying to figure out, like, what makes both sides tick. I know what sells on the chud side. And I know that no matter what, the chuds are going to end up like really kind of winning the fight on YouTube for right now. Like, as far as like the battles, like, they keep winning the battles, like, because it's just, they have that emotional angle on their side, right? It's kind of like conservatives versus leftists. You don't have there's no money on the left to fight back against the right. All of the right-wing media ecosystem is all billionaire funded. The left might have like 1 or 2, but they're not putting up that much fucking money. And there's not a lot of dark money that goes around either. There's way more on the right. So how do you compete with that when you're up against, again, a massive media machine that has the money to be able to push this kind of influence, right? And I want to go back to talk about 2016 leading up to the presidential election back then. There was obviously the complaints that Russia had helped influence the election, which has been proven to be true through the work of the Kremlin, through the Internet Research Agency in Russia. And I had a question a little while back about whether or not my channel was one of the channels that was artificially pumped up in order to be able to push whatever agenda that they wanted, right? I may not have been high on the table, but I was part of, I kept growing in ways that didn't quite seem natural in 2016, right? I went from like, I literally jumped up like almost like 70,000 subscribers that year. And a lot of it was probably Ghostbusters. That was a big one as well. That was big. But I do think there was a lot of astroturfing on the net. I think that there was a lot going on because and let me explain why. So 7.5 years after my whole crash out from 2018, that channel went from 163,000 subscribers down to 108,000 subscribers, which is a significant decrease. But you're talking about over 50,000 subscribers gone in 8 years. I feel like there's something wrong there. There should be more. Right? There should be more. All the screenwriting classes you took at UCLA mean nothing. Yeah, basically. I mean, it's basically that, right? Mission Impossible follows exactly what you're talking about. The last one, I haven't seen Final Reckoning yet. I need to. But I do agree with David here that there is no more appointment television. I mean, there is, but it's like, but the appointments are difficult. You know what I'm saying? It's like they have, remember when it was Game of Thrones, and it was 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 6 p.m. on the West Coast, and the West Coasters had to wait 3 hours. The East Coasters got it, and then they changed it and they went like, all right, now we're going to do everything at 9 p.m. on the East Coast. So as West Coasters, we got it 3 hours earlier. And that was something that is like, okay, cool, right? That was appointment television. The Walking Dead was appointment television. Like there are shows that can be, but now it's like, where's your preeminently great television happening? Well, I mean, Stranger Things just happened, 2 months ago almost for the fifth season, right? Was over 2 months ago when it started, and they dropped a couple episodes at once, and everyone, just kind of went right through it. And then they dropped the next batch, and then they dropped the finale. And that was by and large the true kind of appointment viewing that we've got. But they dropped it at midnight Pacific, and then they dropped, I think the finale was a little earlier than like 6 p.m. or something like that Pacific on New Year's Eve. And still, like, they create the appointment, but then they don't really stick to the appointment, right? A big part of TV and why TV is so effective is because TV creates the habit, right? It creates the habit. You start to build up the habit after 3 weeks of watching a show that you like. That appointment viewing becomes something that your body intrinsically craves. You will set your own alarm internally, like, oh shit, I gotta be home because I gotta watch this fucking show. So, but hold on here. Cruz's motto, we can do better. Wait, what are you guys talking about? I don't even fucking know. Did I remember or watch 24? Yeah, funny thing about 24 is the first season came out. I was watching it religiously every Monday. And then on the second to last episode, I forgot to pre-record, to preset my TV. And that fucked me up because they weren't running reruns at the time. So I didn't see it. And then I'm like, why am I going to watch the season finale? So I didn't watch the season finale either. And then when I picked up watching season 2, I caught the ending. But I was like, great. You know what I mean? Like, oh, fuck. And so then it wasn't until a couple years later where some friends of mine had bought like all the seasons on DVD, and I went through and they let me borrow them, and I was rewatching. So I finally got to the end of season 1, but that was definitely appointment viewing on TV. That was big. They had like, what, 7, 8 seasons of that show? I don't quite know how they kept doing it, but they kept finding a way to put Jack Bauer in a very precarious situation where he was always going to die. I agree, but here's the thing. Parallax says, same thing with Fallout Season 2. First episode came out a day early at 6 p.m. and then went to midnight releases. And then the final two episodes went back to back 6 p.m. And guess what? More people started talking. I think that was always going to pick up towards the end. I've only seen the first 2 episodes myself. I wanted to wait till I could binge more, and I've just been busy. But yeah, I think having, again, the weird time, The Boys, I think, kind of did it great, where they had the first 3 episodes dropped and then they went week to week after that. And I think in this modern age, that's like the best that we could hope for. But it really, really, I should restart 24. I've never seen it, but it seems a good show. It's good. It's just fucking daunting as fuck, dude. I will admit though, you guys will give me shit for this. If you've seen season 3, there is a character who dies that does not deserve it. And it is a very, very fucked up and sad scene. And I will fully admit it brought me to tears, and I did not even like that character. But that fucking got me. You know. So let's see. This says, I remember when Castlevania came out on Netflix, only a few episodes in the first season, and man, it just went through the roof after that. Are you talking about popularity? I mean, yeah, Castlevania did pretty well, but again, it's like, but where does that conversation lie? And that's where things become a little bit difficult, especially in the internet age, because it's like, certain things will do well, right? But like, look at the K-pop Demon Hunters. It was the most watched movie on Netflix. It was the most watched movie last year, just period. It's insanely popular, and people will, but no one's really talking about it. You know what I mean? Like, they'll listen to the music, they like the music, but it's like no one outside of a few really dementedly odd people are like, those, and what I mean by the dementedly odd people are the people who by and large end up creating their entire, like, online identity around that particular movie. But I say the same thing for people who do that about, like, literally, like, celebrities and shit. Animation tends to be a small subculture for adults. But I'm gonna push back on that and talk about fucking, like, look at what's it called? Look at anime, right? Like, Attack on Titan's pretty big. Fucking One Piece is pretty big. Pokemon. People who are Gen Xers and millennials, man. We literally grew. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say Gen Xers, but millennials. Yeah, we grew up with that shit. So it's like, I think animation. I think the kids who grew up with Saturday morning cartoons are more likely to enjoy animation than the ones who didn't. And the kids nowadays, like, again, they have their anime, they've got their manga, they've got all this shit, and that stuff. Those guys have very deep rooted fan bases. Very, very toxic at times, but very deep rooted. So, yeah, then you got Cowboy Bebop. Yeah. Ooh, yeah, that one. Well, the show, I mean, again, I tried to defend it. I think I did. I saw the first episode. It was okay, but I never really went back there. Do people talk about AOE that much? What is AOE? Age of Empire? Attack on, what is it? I don't know. What is AOE? Is it Attack on, what is that? I don't know. One Piece is pretty popular. Those millennials and zennials are the ones who carry. Yeah, zennials is with an X, by the way, but yes. Let's see. I grew up with Saturday morning cartoons, but I haven't seen an animated show in a long time. I would, there's a lot of shows, man, like Invincible is fucking solid, very solid. You've got, obviously South Park is still South Park and everything else. There's like 8 seasons of Big Mouth on Netflix, which is really goddamn funny. Then they had a spinoff show for that called Human Resources. It was pretty good. I would argue one of the best animated shows to come out ever was F is for Family, which is the Bill Burr show. It's got 5 seasons. It's great. And so like, there's a lot there that's mature, that's adult, that is definitely, going to speak to that part of you. The Kevin Smith Masters of the Universe Revelations from a couple years back, those 2 seasons were great. It's like, and those were kind of more adult, like not adult, but like had more adult themes and shit. Big Mouth sure did trigger the animation community. Oh yeah, 100%. 100% it did. It was funny as fuck how mad they got. It's a show about people going through puberty, and like all of these chuds just got like fucking mad, like super mad, and it was just hilarious because every time there's a new season, they'd freak out and they'd fucking go crazy over it. And it wasn't like in the show kind of, and honestly, I'll say, as much as I enjoyed Big Mouth, it probably could have like ended after 5 seasons and been good. I personally think most shows should end at like 5 seasons. I really, really, really feel like most shows should end about 5 seasons. Let's see here. Says, if you're talking about Gen Xers who are 60 and older, they know nothing about anime, but Gen Xers who are 50 know anime pretty well. Well, I think it's all part of this. I think there was some stuff that was back then, but it's not as prolific as it is now. Right. Harley Quinn is a really good show too. I do hear Primal is really good. For a show that has absolutely no dialogue in it. I hear it's pretty solid. Music Man agrees with me that most shows should end at 5 seasons. I just feel like 5 seasons allows you to kind of like lay the groundwork, get in, get out, leave people on a high note, and then go from there. Well, the 4th season is when the decline happens. I mean, sometimes, yeah, but again, it gives you time to kind of have an end goal, in mind and start working towards that fucking end goal. Like, did Big Bang Theory need to go on for 12 seasons? No, it did not. But did Big Bang Theory make a lot of money? Oh yeah. I mean, the both the streaming rights and the syndication rights for that show netted $1 billion each. Hold on, sorry, my phone. Goddamn. There we go. I gotta put that damn thing on airplane. It's just one of those things. Anyway. There's always going to be a down season, yeah. With Disney contracts, most shows only for like 3 seasons. I've heard of that happening, yeah. It's weird that actually is a thing. Like, it really is a weird thing for me. I don't quite know why they would do that, but I guess if they don't want to pay any, well, when it comes to the kids, I can see that, and I'm a little bit concerned about like Daredevil, because they're doing Daredevil Born Again season 3 next year, and I'm like, all right, cool beans, is like, and then are they going to tie that into something else, right? Are they going to tie that into like Defenders? Are they going to tie that into, like, what are they going to do? How are they going to find a way to end it? I don't know. You know what I mean? And we'll have to wait and see. So, anyway. Oh man. Jesus Christ. What am I fucking all right. Lost my place. Yeah, they don't want to pay the royalties. I mean, it's I don't know if I don't know how much of it's royalties. Like, there are factors that go into it. But if a show hits over 5 seasons, usually they can sell the syndication rights. But if you don't put your show on any other syndication, then it's kind of pointless. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're not going to be making any extra money there. So I don't know. Why are they doing a UK version of Saturday Night Live? Who is that for? I don't know. The Brits already have comedy. Well, what are the Brits going to do? There's going to be someone up there going like, "Hello, my name is Donald Trump, and I am the King of America." And who are going to be? It's just, I don't even know. The Brits, like SNL could probably use a fair amount of like Brit writers to come on over and like help really direct the sarcasm and the satire. Because the Brits are just better at that than we are. But if the Brits are going to be doing SNL to like make fun of their own political culture, I feel like they've been doing that for years on their own, and they don't need to more or less like rip off, an American brand that will probably, that is iconic, but not as iconic as Monty Python. But then again, if they were going to do anything, like reboot Kids in the Hall, right? Like, yeah, bring back the cast, add maybe a new cast, pass the torch a little bit, but go back to Kids in the Hall, right? Give the Gen Xers something to fucking root for. Give them, since all those guys now are like basically in their 60s and shit. It's, I don't even know. They don't, I think a lot of it too is that there is a huge risk with stuff that is not IP based. And the stuff that is not IP based is very rare, right? Like, for example, Iron Lung has already done like 10 times its budget. And Iron Lung, has broke 30 million domestic for a movie that, has very little marketing. But you have a YouTuber with 74 million subscribers. He wrote it, produced it, directed it, and stars in it. And I think, and edited it and whatnot. And this is a guy that understands AB thumbnail testing, title testing, retention rates. I mean, this is a guy that understands and has built an entire career around making content that keeps people engaged, and they know what to do editing wise. Again, really talking about the fucking formula, the shit that I was talking about before, is that it's really understanding how the humans work, and everything else. Okay, hold on. Crazy Joe's gonna pop in with I think Arik or maybe somebody else. I got to send him a link. Let me go and find his Twitter because I don't think I have him anywhere else. Give me a second here. Crazy. I like Crazy Joe. Come on. Where is... all right. Joe's got... Is he on... Which is he on? Oh my God. I've got like two... Okay. There we go. All right. Hold on a second. Check your Twitter DM. I just sent you the link. Okay. Anyway. Let's see. Melania got 1.3 on IMDb. Yeah, it was, well, considering the fact that that particular movie is just propaganda. Hold on here. Okay. Let's see. Iron Lung is a bigger achievement for YouTubers than Shelby Oaks is, but I'm happy for Mark. Hope he's in the next FNAF. He probably will be. I think he's working on a lot of stuff there. But Iron Lung is one of those things that kind of comes out of left field, right? They were able to build like a solid word of mouth marketing campaign off of that thing, in order to be able to kind of build it. And then from there, remember that like it was #1 on Friday, and then it was according to Markiplier, it was off Saturday and Sunday. But the numbers reported that they were never sent the numbers, right? Because he's distributing the movie himself. And this is where Hollywood wants Iron Lung to fail. Like they want Iron Lung to fail. Like you guys have got to understand. Yo, what up, buddy? I'll drop the link in here for you guys as well. I sent the link to Joe, but I'll drop it there for you guys to come on in. The idea there is, Hollywood wants, the studios want Iron Lung to fail. They really do. Not that it's not a good movie. I mean, I hear it's okay. I hear it's like, if you like the game, it's a lot of what that is. I watched Markiplier play the game. I thought was pretty good. And I want to see the movie, but I don't think I would go see it in theaters. That's just me. Modern Hollywood is too bloated. It is. Look at those budgets for these movies. You've got a $300,000 movie, right? Or $3 million movie, that one guy put the money up for, and he ends up getting, $30 million. Remember we were talking about that last night with the John Campia, group, the subreddit over there, saying that John isn't, talking about Iron Lung, when Iron Lung is a movie that, is like kind of blowing things up right now. So let's get this in there. Hey, what's going on, Joe? How you doing, buddy?
Hey.
Long time. I haven't talked to you in a bit, I feel like.
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean, we had the group chat, but then you left the group chat, and then I don't even go on Twitter anymore. So.
Yeah, let me hold on a second. Let me go over here and just kind of get everybody on screen. There we go. Okay, what up, Ark? How you doing, buddy?
Oh, we're doing camera. I wasn't sure because
I'm not on camera. So. Fuck no, I'm not at all. I'm sitting here like I'm comfy. I ain't fucking putting anything on.
No, I get it. No, I was like, I don't know the etiquette, so I was like, I'll turn the camera off just in case.
This is me. There's no etiquette here whatsoever. There's like none. You could be butt naked swinging it around. I don't see it. I don't care. And again, that's just kind of how I operate. But some people out there, they want the lights. They want the glitter. They want the whole production because they feel that's what people need. And I mean, it's not the case at all.
Yeah.
I've
seen people operate with like a little of nothing on their streams. So
yeah,
I have a lot of lights in my room, but I use it for multiple purposes. So I have a DJ set up over here where I do like live streams on Twitch for music and stuff. So
oh, nice. That's one of the things I want to learn how to do. I've always wanted to learn how to be a DJ. It seems like so much fun.
It is. If you want, like off stream, I could like give you a bunch of suggestions on stuff you could do to make it cheap and learn how to do it.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I don't have any money right now. I'm fucking broke as shit. But it's that whole thing of getting paid once a month. You're like, oh man, I'm waiting for.
You're waiting.
Paycheck.
What bills do I got? What do I got to put aside? What are my taxes? All that stuff. So yeah.
Well, then I get hit up from my work, and they're going like, we have cash flow issues, so you got to wait to get a paper check. And I'm like, oh great.
Yeah.
The government shutdown screwed us hard back in November. We got hit hard. But I did 20 days last month. But I normally work 4 days a week, and I did 20, so that was a lot. But you know, I like my job, so it's a good gig. I get to drive around in a Mercedes all night long.
Oh, you're still doing the is it ride sharing stuff or whatever that you're
No,
doing?
no. Well, I mean, it's considered limited ride share, but it is a private company, so it's all reservation based.
I got a friend of mine who does it, and they get paid really. They say the money's really good depending on what time of the day you do that stuff. So,
we're scheduled out, but we had 90,000 passengers last year. To give you, we cover like Seattle, pretty much everywhere. So like the other day, I had to drive from the airport out to a place called Copalis Beach, which is on the coast, and so it takes about 5 hours to get out there, drop that one guy off, and then get back out to the depot. So that's like half my day is just like one passenger.
that's
Nice
good,
guy.
though.
Yeah, it was a nice
I feel
guy,
like
you know. Yeah, but it was just that's how it goes with this job. But it's
That's
nice
less
because
of a hustle than the normal like ride share stuff.
oh, it's not even a hustle. I'm paid, you know, I'm paid 24 an hour. You know, and then but with tips, it's averaging about 30. So I can't complain, dude. I make like literally on average, I pull in about $150 a week in cash tips. So it just adds up.
That's cool as fuck.
Hell yeah, man. So I don't worry about YouTube as much anymore. It'd be nice to make more money on YouTube, but I don't really care.
I tell people all the time, I do this because I like doing it. I have jobs outside of YouTube.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, no, because you do a bunch of your stuff. I know Joe works his job. And do we know what Little Movie Perp does? Does he do anything, or is he just...
Little Movie Perp does stuff. I don't want to go, you know. I don't want to
He
be
does
saying,
stuff. He's
I kind of know what he does.
He's an
but
entrepreneur.
He
Sure,
never says
yeah,
on stream,
yeah.
so I don't want to be the one to.
He's out there drumming up Comicsgate shit, you know? I don't know. It's fucking going in. I don't even know.
Is there money
man.
in that, Matt? Is there money in the Comicsgate drama now? I don't know.
I don't think there's money. Not because Perp doesn't have a monetized channel, so I don't think there's money for Perp on that one.
Right.
But what there is there's drama, and I think the drama in and of itself is a currency. Especially if you got someone who's got like ADD or ADHD or whatever, I think it really plays into it because it's kind of like it's that instant gratification of like, you know, these guys are going to respond because they're all emotional bitches.
Yeah, true.
And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I love Perp. I love Perp. He's one of my favorite people. Like I've hung out with him in person. He's just great. But I can't go on his streams anymore because of the Comicsgate stuff because I don't know what's going on. I'm sitting on the stream listening to the arguments, and I'm like, I don't even know who the hell you people are talking about.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I know about most of that stuff. So.
I honestly get my updates from watching your videos, Arik. Like I don't like no, literally. Like I'm like okay, I got to take somebody to like it's like an hour and a half drive. I don't know if they're going to talk or not. So I have my I've got my Meta glasses which pump in Bluetooth, so I just like download a bunch of YouTube videos real quick, set up a and then just listen and they're on a playlist and I'm like, all right, it will jump over to yours. I'm like, okay, he's bored, let's fucking go.
How are the Meta glasses for you, by the way? You like them? You don't like them?
I like them. The downside though is a couple things. One, they're heavy. I have like the Gen 2s that came out a couple years ago. And they're about, I want to say close to like maybe 12 ounces or so. You feel it after a while. And the battery is not the greatest for lasting, but it's got a quick recharge. It's the sound quality is actually pretty good. The video quality is pretty good. I like the hands-free. So when I'm driving and I get a text message from my boss or something or my dispatch, it will read me the text message. Oddly enough, in John Cena's voice, which is very odd. I said it to John Cena though, so that's my thing. But I said but then I'll get text messages and it'll be like, "You have a message from Susan," and I'm just like, it's so weird to hear John Cena's voice in my head like that. But they're like they're pretty good. But I actually ended up because they're prescription. I had to go out and I had to get the prescription lenses, which if I went through Lens Crafters, they wanted like $600 for. And then I went through some third party in Ohio for like 160, which is not bad, and they work great. But then I also had to go and get a regular pair of glasses that I wear like now like 90% of the time, just because it's like nowhere near as heavy on my head. So that's the downside, is the weight.
So in other words, if your criticism would be, if you're going to continue with this, you got to lighten it up a little bit with these glasses.
Yeah. Like I don't feel like I need to upgrade. There's that new Gen 2 or the Gen 3 or whatever they got that's got that little in-screen display, and I'm just going like I need prescriptions. and I've got type 2 diabetes, so it's kind of like I have to update my prescription every couple years. Like I don't want to be having to spend, all of this money constantly to up these prescriptions for these glasses. So, I mean, I invested in it. I like it, but I don't know if I'll continue with it. But then again, but the wearables are getting more popular.
Yeah.
And so as a result of that, a lot of people, I think we're going to see more innovation and then costs will come down.
Okay. That's cool.
So.
No, I don't know what you were talking about before we got here. I do not want to derail whatever your stream was.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
Believe me when I say, I did a almost 5 hour stream last night with Chris the Bipolar Jedi, and what I wanted to talk about was largely, and I'll get you guys' take on this, especially Ark, because you cover a lot of this shit. The YouTube space for movie talk is fucking terrible, right?
Yes.
It's just negative, it's bad, it's garbage. I've been spending a lot of time on Facebook in the groups over there talking about movies, and it's like nothing but love.
Yeah.
It's like nothing but positivity. It's like you drop a movie link and no one goes, I mean, well, they'll say maybe some people will say like a movie is trash, but like by and large, it's usually like, well, like there's conversations about like when Sinners got the 16 nominations. There was a lot of conversation about that, which I thought was really funny. And because that's always one thing that some people like, they overshoot it or they undercook their argument and then it gets confusing. But for the most part, a lot of people are just there talking about new things that they like. They showcase the new movies that they buy. They're like talking about, like old films that they enjoyed. It's just like this more like laid back, more nostalgia based, I guess, environment. And I'm just going like, yeah, that's way more fun to be a part of.
Where is this on your group, the Hollywood?
I have a group on Facebook.
Yeah.
I need to like sit down and like program shit. Facebook pisses me off because they took the groups out of the API.
Yes.
So I can't pay for like a bulk scheduler anymore. I can schedule like using the Meta Business Suite, which I would rather start a shotgun.
I fucking hate the Meta Business Suite. I have to
It's
use
so
that for
bad.
work too, so.
It's so bad. And it's like, so I hate that. Like now if I get a DM on Instagram will send me a notification and the Meta Business Suite will send me a notification. And then like one of my friends will sometimes just start sending me videos like en masse repeatedly. So my phone is just going off. I'm like, what the fuck is happening? Like, oh, it's just Chaz. He wants me to watch some fucking reels. But no, I mean, I just feel it's like how I'm trying to put together the idea here of like, I largely made the joke that AI, the algorithm, machine learning, destroyed movie talk on YouTube because it started focusing on pushing the emotional driven nonsense, all that gobbledygook. Whereas it seems the opposite on Facebook, where like the interaction and stuff they show you is more based upon like stuff that actually gets a lot of positive attention. So it's weird.
That hasn't been my experience on Facebook. I see a lot of negativity on Facebook too. But I was just saying, even before we came over here, I'm seeing positivity on Threads.
Threads is very positive. Also, if you are a single person, that is the place for you. So I don't know why I get all these things on there that are just like all these single people. I'm like, I'm not single. Why are you showing me all this shit? And it's just like, but it's all women from Washington, which is super weird because like it knows where I live. So it's like, it funnels all that stuff to
I
me
was
first.
getting that at first too. All single women from Philadelphia. It's really weird, but I think you got to kind of kickstart their algorithm.
Yeah, I got to spend more time on there.
Like I started posting a couple things about Starfleet Academy, and then next thing I knew, my feed was all Star Trek.
Okay.
And then I posted something about the new Muppet Show, and now I'm getting mostly Muppets and Star Trek in my feed. I still occasionally get single women from Philadelphia, but not as much as I was.
Okay. I mean, I've posted a little bit on there about writing, and so I'll get writers' threads and whatnot, but I'm always a little apprehensive because I do, I workshop everything with AI as I'm at work because I have all this time. You figure I do a 12-hour shift, at least 6 hours of that I'm by myself. So I have a lot of time to workshop stuff, and I enjoy it. And I use it to its advantage, and so, but I also know how people feel about it in those spaces, and especially like Threads. So I don't even want to fuck with that too much, but it is nice. I have seen more positive stuff over there. It really is just like, it's YouTube and Twitter that are the worst. I think TikTok is still even pretty good for movie stuff, just not politics. Cause that's bad.
Do you think, cause you've been doing this shit for a long time. Like we both have been on YouTube for a long time. And, Joe, I don't know. When did you start your channels?
About 10 years ago.
Okay, so yeah, you've been around for a minute too.
Around the time I met, my good old buddy, Adam. So
Yeah. So I feel like YouTube needs to fix whatever their algorithm is. Like whatever it's doing is not working the way it's supposed to, because I see a lot of people out there making good videos, but the problem is YouTube doesn't really promote those videos. And
Yeah.
there's like if you look at your analytics, you can see a lot of stuff. Like I'm sure Matt, you go through sometimes and look at yours. Anybody that does it like for a business, I'm sure they're looking at it every day, right? But
Obsessively.
yeah,
when you're doing
I mean,
it full time.
If you're the quartering, you're looking at it every 5 minutes. But like, you're going through and you're trying to figure out what to do and what kind of content you're supposed to be making. And now AI is, if you're a YouTube creator, little insight on this, YouTube is trying to use AI to give us ideas now to make videos. Like if you log into your account, it's like AI thinks you should be doing this and get an AI assistant and all this other stuff. The issue is that YouTube realizes that they need to add more people into the YouTube algorithm, into their ecosystem, but they know that a lot of people aren't talented enough to make content. So they're like, hey, we need to take that barrier of entry and lower it down as much as we can so that people can come in and start making content. The problem is that you're going to get slop content with AI. Some of it's going to be good, some of it's going to be bad, but the vast majority of it's going to be bad stuff. And then the algorithm now, actually, and kind of, I mean, I guess it's say on topic here, but AI is going through and banning people's channels now for stuff because it doesn't know how to determine. Did I get freeze up? Oh, there we go.
A little bit. You froze up a little bit. Yeah.
It doesn't know how to determine like what's against terms of service and what isn't.
Well, the thing with YouTube is that YouTube has always used an algorithm to do that, right? Yeah. And so that's never changed. And that's where I find every time there's this massive kerfuffle online about like mass bannings or things along those lines, like a lot of people don't quite understand how YouTube operates. And so it's like, yes, the machine learning part of it will go through and flag a bunch of stuff. But the biggest problem is that when it gets sent to the human review, the human review is happening in like third world countries where their sensibilities are way different than ours. And so that ends up being a big problem. Now, this weird thing, this is what I don't get about this, them saying that they deleted 12, was it 12 million or 16 million?
It was a lot.
Like,
yeah. A lot. Yeah. But,
Well, but I think also at the same time, they're running into the same problem that I think a lot of these companies are, especially Twitter, is you've got all of these people that have made multiple accounts, right? So you've got so much that's not being, that it's kind of like the numbers aren't reflecting the reality of it. And I think that might be one of the reasons. It's like because YouTube did clear 60 billion in revenue last year. So they've been making a ton of money. But they also have to make sure that they're serving it up. They don't want another adpocalypse is what I'm trying to say. For those of you, do you know what the adpocalypse is?
I know what it is. I know what it is.
So okay, so the quick
Which one? There's been a couple.
The
of them,
original,
but,
the original's the only
one with
that,
the kids content with all that stuff. Yeah.
Well, no, that wasn't Kappa. Kappa was not that. Kappa was an entirely different situation. The original.
So which one are you talking about?
I'm talking about the one from February 2017.
Okay.
So nine years ago.
Okay.
So what happened is basically, so Trump gets elected in 2016. In early 2017, the Wall Street Journal, mad that YouTubers got a lot more attention than they did during the election, which is very true. They started running all these hit pieces about like PewDiePie, and a lot of it was showcasing internet humor, and internet humor doesn't track off the internet.
Yeah, PewDiePie was like the poster child for all of this. Yeah.
Yeah, even though he's mild as fuck, all things considered.
Yeah, looking back now, it's like, what were we doing?
I mean, yeah, but I will say though, like hiring those two guys from Africa to say like death to Keemstar while saying kill all the Jews, like maybe not the best idea.
Yeah.
Right. Or whatever that was. Like that was bad. That was, I get that.
The edgy humor that we used to back in the day.
Oh God, trust me. I'm sure you know about the polar bear.
Yeah.
Yeah. My edgy humor. We've all been there. I would argue probably the edgiest humor video that we've ever had on YouTube is the Logan Paul Suicide Force video.
Oh, absolutely.
Because that was completely fake, and like no one ever wants to talk about that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so when so the Wall Street Journal does all this, and then that kind of has that rocks the boat, but that's not the kill shot. Do you know what the kill shot was? It's one of the most interesting things ever that no one ever talks about. So there's one video, and it was from some guy, and he uploaded a Chief Keef song, and it was the song that's Alabama N-word, right?
Yes.
Uncensored. Okay. So he's running this song on there. The video is up. The video is monetized. and it has 200,000 views on it, right? So Wall Street Journal finds this. They find out that like pre-roll ads are running on there from like Nike and Starbucks and McDonald's, and they run this whole clutch their pearls couch faint shit over that, right? And that was the killing blow that got those like hundreds of companies to pull out of YouTube and to shut it all down. Well, so H3H3 actually went in and investigated this, and they found out how much money that video made off of those 200,000 views to trigger the adpocalypse. You know how much money it was?
What was the number?
$20. It made $20 between the original poster and the MCN that claimed the song. And that because they talked to the guy who ran the MCN too.
People still use MCNs. That's an old term. I haven't heard that in years.
Well, some people still do, but it's really like if you were in those to begin with.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, MCM is an old thing. It's called multi-channel networks. It was I was in one for a while actually, and
God,
I was in BBTV for like a while, and they like I was in their ecosystem for ads, which was pretty good until the adpocalypse, and then it was just like stop serving anything, you know.
Yeah.
And so then I left because there was like no point of giving them any kind of cut, right? Because it's like, well, fuck you guys. But anyway, so so that $20, it was $20, or I think $20.73 or something is what triggered the adpocalypse. At the end of the day, that is the amount of money that costs most of us about 60% of our income. It was bad. Like, so, and all that shit. And then, there was a woman that drove from San Diego to YouTube headquarters, and she shot 3 people.
I remember that. Yep.
And you know who got blamed for it? Me.
What?
People started spreading my name and my picture around Twitter as being the shooter. And so I ended up, at that point in time, this was early 2018, because that was when they did the changes to the monetization, to the partnership program. And I'm sitting there with my daughter. She was like 2 months old, and I'm just playing Kingdom Come Deliverance, And then I look down, and all of a sudden, like, people are saying I'm the shooter. I ended up being interviewed by the LA Times over it. And then they ran that in the paper in San Diego, and I started getting calls from my friends who read it in the paper going like, what the fuck did you do? What have you been up to? So it's a crazy world to be in. This whole thing is nuts.
Yeah.
And it's just only gotten worse over time. But that's by and large the whole adpocalypse story. And then there's been multiple other instances of pullbacks, but I just don't know. I don't know. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I feel like, creators kept having to be more outrageous to make up for the lack of funding. You know what I mean? Like, to get more people to tune in. These IRL streams that we see on Twitch that kind of bled over to TikTok, that kind of bled over to YouTube. On Kick now too? I guess they're doing it over there as well. Rumble.
A few of those others.
I just feel like that you were saying, like, AI destroyed movie talk on YouTube, and this is what the title of the stream is. I think it has. I think also we're seeing clones of people's channels. There's a clone of Critical Drinkers channel. There's a clone of Neurotics channel, and they're not going to be the only ones. We're going to see more of this happen, where they're just going to take creators that are popular, clone their content, and make a separate channel using their voice, using their style.
Yeah.
It's just going to keep devolving unless YouTube does something. And going after AI music isn't enough. I know they say that we're going after AI trailers and AI music, but that's not enough. Like, that's not the biggest problem. Yeah, there are problems, but that's not the biggest problem. The problem is copying other YouTubers.
Yeah, I don't even think the AI trailers is a problem. I still think you put those together. I think it falls under parody. Or satire. I think fair use applies to those things.
Yeah, but the studios using that antiquated DMCA system.
That's true. But then at the same time, I talked about this before you guys got here. You've got a number of these AI Star Wars channels now that are putting out almost daily, 8 minutes, 15 seconds to be able to hit that mid ad mark.
Yep.
And then and they're talking about original trilogy, sequel trilogy shit. Or sorry, not sequel trilogy, prequel trilogy. And people are tuning in, hundreds of thousands of people a day, and they like the content. And the stuff I'll say is, like, generally it's not bad. It's all story driven. There's some action, and it's AI, so your quality is going to vary. Yeah. But it's like, but there's a draw for that. And that's why I've said that, that Star Wars, like this AI shit is going to be what brings Star Wars back, I think.
Well, you know
Because-
what Disney's doing? They're encouraging people to do things for their service so they can use content.
I can't wait for the TikTokification of Disney Plus in a few months.
It's gonna happen for sure.
That's so weird. It's like, but then it's like, what about the voices? You know, because I don't know if you've looked at Sora recently. Like, its quality is like its sound quality has gone to shit.
There's changes that are happening. Some of them more positive, some of them not so positive. But I really think it's going to come down to just a handful of like companies powering these AIs. I think a lot of the market is wide right now. There's a lot of different smaller ones, but I think it's going to come down to just the ones that can afford to put their money into these like farms where they can create servers and you know, fund it.
It's very similar. It's very similar to like the game market right now, where you have all these venture capitalists, these investors that are coming in and pushing for live service because they all want to be the next Fortnite. So if you invest a few million into it and you lose, oh well, you can write that off and then find some more money to invest into the next one, because it's just a numbers game, which is essentially the same thing that Hollywood's been doing with movies since forever, at least more recently. You know, I mean, if you look at like just even this last summer, it's like the movies themselves were fine, but I wouldn't say necessarily like anything that was a real big standout. You know, that, I mean, I enjoyed Jurassic World, but it was rather, you know, it was a little, you know, derivative at times and not the greatest thing. I mean, I enjoyed Fantastic Four, but I can see why that one failed. I think Superman was probably the best overall one I saw, but even that was still kind of like, okay, you know, it was good, but it wasn't Man of Steel to me, basically.
Right.
You know, and it's not saying that it was bad. I've watched it now like 3 times with my kids, you know, but it's kind of just like, even look at How to Train Your Dragon. Do we need to have a live action How to Train Your Dragon? It was good, but do we need it? No. Like, the original's right there. It's great. So that's
people that come in my streams that love that have agreed that they prefer the original one over the live action. So
I'll
I've
tell
heard
you
that
though,
from multiple people. So
I was really curious how they were going to do Astrid. You know, how Tandy Newton's daughter, Nico Parker, that's her name. She was great. So the cast was fantastic in the live action. I will.
Well, they're going to do another one, by the way. They're going to keep doing.
Oh no, they're shooting it right now. They're shooting it right now. Yeah, and I'm excited to take my kid. I took my kids on like the last day of school. Like when they got out of school, we went over and saw it as a treat. And so they really liked it too. But I feel it's like Hollywood in and of itself, again, is just relying on all of these, you know, reboots and remakes and sequels as for very much the same reason why gaming is focusing on all the live services. And then, but there's also then you've got all of the prestige television, you know, on Hulu, on Netflix, on Apple, on, you know, whatever, Amazon. I mean, like, so there's so much content to watch these days. It just ends up being too much for, I think, a lot of people to get in on. And so the negativity is just maybe an easier draw. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, okay, you know what, really, you gotta understand. You watch more of that shit with those guys than I do. I've never been one to engage with them. Like, I've never, like, I'll hear like the high points of what they're trying to say, and then that's it. But I tried watching a Critical Drinker video. The very first one I watched was that one about how Hollywood had like failed men. And he kept talking about like really trying to get towards, his only example was Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Mm-hmm. And even though I agreed that they failed the character in that movie, his thesis was so like daft and thin and surface level that it was just like a mishmash of words, and none of it made any sense. Mm-hmm. And I listened to this whole thing even on stream here, and I'm just like, what the fuck are we listening to? This is the stupidest thing ever.
Well, not only that, but most of his videos are just repeats of other things he said. Like it's just literally like he's got a script and he just shuffles around talking points depending on what it is he's talking about. I mean, I went back and I watched a bunch of his videos about Rachel Zegler, and they're essentially the same videos over and over and over again. So, and
that's the thing is like here's the thing is like the Snow White movie. Joe, you liked it, right? You thought it was really good.
Oh yeah.
Right. See,
Joe thought it should have been nominated for a bunch of awards. Actually,
I thought it should have been nominated for Best Original Song at the Oscars
really?
For either one of the two songs, "Waiting on a Wish" or what was the other one, "Where the Good Things Grow." Like
okay.
I saw some of what was nominated, and like I think it was better than some of what was nominated.
See, I need to see it still. I haven't watched it yet. My kids haven't necessarily shown an interest in it. But then again, we also got rid of Disney Plus over the whole Jimmy Kimmel thing. That was more of a, and we haven't gone back. We're like, all right, well, I think we're going to go back when Daredevil comes back. because we're big Daredevil fans.
Yeah, that's about a little over a month away, right?
Yeah,
Daredevil?
I'll go back in for that, and then of course Hulu's gonna have like I think Predator Badlands is hitting up there next month, or whatever. So I'll be all right, cool. I can finally watch Predator Badlands and not have to pirate it. But it's like
it's a good movie. I watched it a couple times actually. So
yeah, no, I hear it's really good, but then you hear it's also it's really woke, or like it failed, or
EFAP reacted to my video on that where I basically debunked Critical Drinkers video, which was funny.
I can't stand EFAP. Like, I would love nothing more than for bad things to happen to Mahler. Like, but for me, it's here's the thing. My hatred of Mahler, not hatred, my disdain, I should say. Like, and I bring this up all the time. Have you ever watched his Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness review?
No, I haven't seen
Good.
that.
You don't have to. I'm going to tell you the funniest part about it, though, right?
All right.
So, because he basically goes through, like, it's a 5-hour review of the movie. When they get to the 838 universe and Doctor Strange and America Chavez are walking around and they get to the stoplight and the light's reversed, that broke his brain.
Really?
Yes. Red means go, green means stop. Broke his brain. Fucking can't stand it. Just fucking huge rant off of that thing, right? And I'm looking at that and I just go like, because I was sent the clip and I'm like, that's the easiest thing to reference to people to show them that things are different.
Yeah.
Right? That is literally just flipping the script on two lights. And that's it. And it breaks his brain. And I'm like, this is not what you would call, in my opinion, criticism of something that you should listen to. Because at that point you are just CinemaSins for severely autistic people.
Yeah, so
I
agree, but I've said before that like my issue isn't that people don't like things. I don't give a fuck if somebody doesn't like a movie. Like if you don't like a movie or a TV show, who gives a fuck? I don't even care if you have actual legitimate objective reasons why you don't like it. My issue is that these guys don't really have any arguments. It's always dumb shit. It's never anything substantial. It's never anything that would make the movie better. Like, oh, let's change the lights back to normal. That would magically make the movie better. It's like, no.
Well, and that's my thing too, is like, because I would consider myself a storyteller, and I always approach everything from story. So it's like my gripes with, let's say, The Last Jedi are pretty much all story. I'll sit there and I'll be like, well directed, visual effects amazing. John Williams score best of the sequel trilogy in that movie. Holy shit, it's so good. I can't get past the story, and I'm the same way with Sinners. I really am.
You said The Last Jedi?
I said the Last Jedi gets me, man, because it's so. Right. I mean, and I don't need to go back and rehash that, but like even with Sinners, I talk about that quite often. I'm just like, that movie is like glazed so much, right? And it's like, but if you look at it from a pure story perspective, it loses itself because it doesn't know what it wants to be. It knows the premise it wants to push, and it does a good job, and it has good characters in an interesting situation, and you want more of that. But when it tries to do more, it falls apart, and it's like people don't want to have that conversation, I've noticed. But I also, I'm happy for its success, but it's kind of like the same thing. But this is where you get into the whole fandom shit, right? You have the fandom menace guys will attack everything. There are people out there that if you criticize, K-pop demon hunters, they'll come at you with sharpened knives, ready to kill you. Yeah. And that's and I think the biggest thing is the fact that it's the fandoms. The fandoms, I mean, push a lot of this stuff, but it's like, why are they going so crazy? Mm-hmm. That becomes my question. Like, why is it these people now are turning a lot of this stuff into their identity?
Yeah. Rather
than just enjoying it for what it is. Is it just like social isolation post-COVID? Like, is it just like they don't have anything for themselves to believe in? Just the world itself is so shitty. It's such a weird thing, because I'm sure you guys look at movies the same way I do, which is like, these are great escapes. Mm-hmm. These are fun just to like sit back and watch and enjoy.
Do you ever get the feeling that these guys base their opinions on these things? Well, I guess a couple of different things. First of all, obviously based on what they think people that subscribe to them want to hear them say. I think that's a big point of it. But I also think that they use justifications like box offices or Rotten Tomatoes or whatever, IMDb, cinema scores, whatever it is. I don't go into a movie caring about any of that. I go into a movie because I want to enjoy the movie. I want to have
Yeah.
a good time. If it's bad, I'll say it's bad. If I don't like it, I'll say I don't like it. But I think these guys use justifications for everything they say. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
if they'll say, oh, well, the audience score is low, or the critic score is low, or XYZ. And it's like, I just want them to talk about why they don't like the thing. If you don't like it, explain to me why you don't like it without using outside influences to justify your opinion.
Well, because that would require them to get a personality, and that's the
Yeah.
biggest problem, is that they don't know why they don't like it. You know what I mean? Like, they don't know why they don't. You know, I mean, like, you can sit there and disagree. I will say this about Crazy Joe. One of the things I love about Crazy Joe, and this is true, Joe, is even though Joe and I will disagree about certain movies, if Joe says he likes something or doesn't like something, I never question if that's a true belief or not.
Right.
Right? I'm like, I know Joe well enough to know that if he says he likes or doesn't like, I can take that to the bank because that's his true opinion. He has no reason to lie or no reason to obfuscate or try to bump that up. These other guys, you know, it's like there's that video clip of Jeremy Griggs saying, like, I love The Last Jedi until he found he could make more money by not, you
Right.
know? And
Right.
so it's kind of like that shows you that the whole game is there. I mean, and I'm sure you've seen enough clips of him to know that he doesn't believe anything that he says, like, ever.
Yeah.
You know, and even stuff with Donald Trump, I don't even think he truly believes it. I think he just knows that it's a grift.
Yeah.
And he'll just play it.
Like the political grift is really good right now on YouTube. Like if you want to make money on politics,
Oh
it's
yeah.
the perfect
Oh no,
time to do it.
trust me. I've told I was literally at a second grade concert for my daughter last week. My girlfriend and I are talking beforehand, and she just kind of goes, "Do you ever think about getting back into politics on YouTube?" And I just looked at her like, "Are you fucking serious?" Like,
Yeah.
it's, you remember how angry I was? And she's like, yeah, no, I know. But like the money was really good. And I'm like, yeah. And the money would be good again, but my sanity would be gone. And she's
Yeah.
like, well, yeah, but have you thought about it? I'm like, if I lose my job, then absolutely.
No, it's really like that's the whole reason when people talk about geeks and gamers and you look at those guys and their movie criticism stuff, he pretty much offloaded that to the Geeks and Gamers website now, and he has somebody else writing those fucking AI articles for them.
Yeah.
And he basically focuses on his political channel. That's where he's spending a lot of his time and energy is on his political channel. And from a financial standpoint, I can't fault him for it. I know he's making more money doing political content, but a lot of the people that he still associates with, they're still stuck on the movie and TV culture war stuff. And the reason why I know it's not popping off like it used to be is they're stuck on Starfleet Academy. That's the only thing they're talking about. They're not talking about Fallout. They're not talking about any of these other fucking shows that are out there. They're not even really talking about A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. They are literally hyper fixated on Starfleet Academy. That's the only thing they're making money off of right now. And that's it. That's the only thing. I haven't seen them try to grift off of anything else. Well, they did talk about the Odyssey a little bit, but that movie's still a ways out. So
Yeah. Well, that one is, well, and then again, like, I don't know if you saw, but I found the original image that they tried using to say that it was
Lupita,
this,
the one from Lupita. Yeah.
yeah, it was just her from 12 Years a Slave. I'm like, I saw that and they go, oh, it's the first look of her as Helen of Troy. And I'm going like, oh, fuck, here we go again. You know, and I'm like, let me go find the image and, you know, and then, but here's the thing. I posted it, like, no one seemed to care. Right. Like, no, because I think it's because, like, just, I don't think people want to, like, either, I don't think they want to give a shit.
I have
Like,
a lot of people in my Discord and in my comment section that don't necessarily hate Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker. They're just tired of that culture. They're tired of arguing about everything and fighting about everything. They're just like, I want to do stuff that I want to enjoy. I don't want to sit around and talk for hours about movies and TV shows that I'm not even watching. And I think that's kind of where their community is they're just apathetic to all of it. And
I'll tell you this.
apathy isn't good for those channels.
I mean, and I'm sure you and Joe would agree with me here. If I don't like something, I'm not going to watch it.
Yeah.
You know, like I saw one clip of Starfleet Academy and I just kind of went, not for me. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll get back. Maybe I'll try it. I actually liked the Star Trek Discovery's first season. From what I saw of it, you know, I thought was pretty good. But I do also think too that sometimes it's like the negativity is so much there. Like there's been, I just like, what was it? Something happened recently where there was just so much negativity around something. I just didn't engage with it till after it was over. I'm like, all right, I'm just not going to fuck with this shit till it's done. You know, like I don't want to deal with it.
Honestly, if you're a Star Trek fan, I can't recommend Starfleet Academy enough. Like I keep saying, this show's like a love letter to Star Trek. Like when they keep saying this isn't Star Trek, I'm like, then you're not watching the show, because this show is wearing its love of Star Trek and the entire legacy on its sleeve. Like it's so, like the latest episode, man. The latest episode was ties into Deep Space Nine, which is my favorite Star Trek series. I got emotional watching it.
Well, it's kind of like I'll say this actually. So I won't say who, but somebody that is close to the Star Trek Picard production when that was happening, right? Season 3. Someone high up, very high up, DM'd me on Twitter and said, "Thank you for pushing back against those guys." And I thought that was real nice. You know, and I'm like, I wish you would say, I mean, I understand why you won't say something. I get that. But I was like, okay, I get it. You know, and I've had other people who work in the industry kind of make comments to me about that, you know? And so like they pay attention, but it's also like, I think those guys also know that they're up between a rock and a fucking hard place. You know, like you can't, you can't compete with the spread of the nonsense, especially if it's a juicy enough lie. And it's kind of like, you might laugh at this, Art. Tonight, that Star Wars girl tried to say that she's not a conservative.
Oh.
That was sent to me.
What's really interesting is I go on streams with other conservative people. I've been on streams with other conservative YouTubers before, and we've had conversations about stuff. It's a level of conservative that I can't get to with a lot of these guys. And I think that's the issue, is like, I think she's ashamed to say that she is, because she knows that it's looked at so negatively. But if you're going to be a conservative and you want to push against the negativity, just do that. Just be like, I'm a conservative, but I'm not cool with XYZ. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what I would say.
It's like I keep saying, I've been saying this for a while now. Like the conservatism and the Republican Party have been hijacked. Like what they're representing today is not what they represented 8 years ago or 12 years ago. Or I mean, look, the last 3 nominees for the Republican president, Bush, Romney, and McCain, all hate Trump.
Yeah.
It's like it's not the same party. So I can understand to a degree.
Well, I get it. And,
and I talked about that before you guys got here. I brought up the idea that like a lot of this culture war shit starts really like when the alternative or the opposite is in power. So this started like the anti-SJW stuff really kicked off in 2012, right? Like it was a big thing in 2012. And I know because I was there. And it was like, that was when like Anita first came on the scene. And that was when you had the, the big, what was it? Dragons, was it Dragon's Age 2 with the writer, one of them saying she wants like a skip combat button, and everyone just went at her. That was the first real time. That and like Mass Effect 3 were like all, like it was like, that was February, Mass Effect and Anita were like in March. Like those 3 pivotal events happened all at like one time. And no one ever talks about the Dragon Age writer, but I always thought she kind of had a point. Like sometimes I just want to get the story, like I don't care about the gameplay. Like I'm playing Outer Worlds 2 right now and I dig the story a lot, but the gameplay's kind of repetitive. So I'm just kind of like, all right, let's just get through the story. But then I played Avowed, their other game, and I fucking hated the main story, but I really liked the gameplay. Go figure.
That's why I don't like modern video games. I'm like, I'm not there for a story. I'm there to play a game.
No, I get it. I mean, I get it, yeah. But I'll tell you what I like though. Avatar game. I just beat that finally, and I really enjoyed that. So, but then again, I'm also I'm a slut for Avatar. I'll admit that. I have no problem admitting my love for that. People are like, I don't understand Avatar, and I'm like, oh, you don't get it. I'm like, there's so much family. No, but it's true. If you watch the Avatar films through the same lens that you watch a fucking Fast and Furious movie, I think you'll get it. I think
it's all about family.
It's all about it truly is. It truly is all about family. Even like found family. Jake in the first film with the with the Na'vi. Then you get Spider in 2 and 3 and that whole thing. Quaritch and Spider. There's so much going on with the fucking found family shit. It hits those tropes real hard. And I think it does it well.
And Matt, I'm pretty sure that you are probably in the same boat as this. I know Joe is. We've talked about it before. I miss just having conversations about movies that fucking makes sense. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
talking about, I remember going to the movies. I'd go with like a group of friends. This is probably very old school to everyone because most people don't remember this in modern times. But back in the day, go to the mall, hang out at the mall, fucking go to the food court, play some video games, and then go to the fucking movie theater. That was what we did. And we watched movies like that all the time. And we come out, we might like the movie, we might hate the movie. Some of us might like it, some of us might hate it. But we actually talked about stuff that we loved. And we might shit talk it, but at the end of the day, we all actually talked about the fucking movie. Now you get on fucking YouTube and you go to like a Friday Night Tight stream, and it's just garbage conversation about stuff. And it made me think about that because you talked about Fast and Furious and Found Family. Like, look at how that movie franchise has, some would say, devolved over the life that it's had.
It's gotten wild. But I still love him. I still love him. Like, I still will absolutely go see him. And like, you know, and well, I mean, I remember like in Fast and Furious 7, when Paul Walker, his death bothered the fuck out of me. Like, it just bothered me. So when they finally gave him that great send off, because I was like, how are they going to do this? Oh my God, how are they going to send him off? And I think they did it pitch perfect. Like, James Wan did that. And I think that's the reason why that was $1 billion movie. Is they nailed that send off, and it brought me to fucking tears at the end of that film. I was like, because I just really loved those characters, and I was like really sad about Paul Walker, you know, and then I found out that he was dating a 17-year-old as he was in his mid-30s, and I'm like, that's weird.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's a weird one. You're like, ooh, okay, yeah, let's acknowledge that was bad, but we can also acknowledge that we're sad.
What are you drinking, Joe? By the way, sorry.
I'm drinking aviation gin.
Oh.
All right. So have you been watching the John Campia program?
Promoting Ronald, or not Ronald Reagan. What's his name? Ryan Reynolds.
I don't know, Ryan.
I'm going to bring us full circle to how we came to be here tonight, Matt. You're asking if I'm watching the John Campia show.
Robert Meyer Burnett. Yeah.
I've stopped watching the John Campia show solely because of Robert Meyer Burnett. He was on Friday Night Tights a couple weeks ago, and they were talking about Starfleet Academy. No surprise here, he hates it. But there was rampant homophobia. Like, the most... You know how they always say, like, we're not homophobic, we're not racist? No, like, it wasn't like hidden subtext. It was like, here, in your face, the most unbelievable homophobia you'd ever want to see. And Robert Meyer Burnett didn't contribute to it. He didn't, say a word, but he just sat there in silence and listened to it. And then they said something about, and then Holly Hunter keeps showing her feet, and then, oh yeah, I hate that. Then he jumps in. So it's like, he held his tongue, but he didn't say, guys, this is inappropriate. Hey, didn't say a word to correct them. So I'm like, he silently endorsed the homophobia. And I said, I can't be a part of anything he's in anymore. Because your hatred of Star Trek.
This was on Friday Night Tights, right?
Yeah,
that's what it's like about. Yeah,
it's your hatred of Star Trek isn't enough for you to just sit there and be like, I'm gonna accept this. It's like, if you're gonna sit there and listen to that and not step in and not say this is inappropriate, how can I support the Campia show?
I mean, I get that. I mean, it's obvious John is aware of this. He's aware of all of it. I don't think John is a smart enough guy to understand, that Robert is associated with these people, right? But I think he knows that, and he probably just tells Robert, don't do anything that's going to get doing.
He doesn't do it on John's show, though. That's the weird. He doesn't say anything like that on John's show.
And that's the thing. Of course not. Campia will call these guys out. And he'll never call them by name, but you know who he's talking about. He'll be like, well, these cousin humping, basement dwellers, and just like he did on Friday Night Tights. Which is a real insult to cousin humpers, but just like on Friday Night Tights, Robert Meyer Burnett will sit there in silence.
Well, okay, so not that I'm going to defend any of that, because it's like, even in my job, okay, I'll talk, like, a couple weeks ago, I had a passenger who was from California, and I was taking her home, and she's like, right even before we got in the van, she starts going off about Gavin Newscomb, and I'm like, oh great, and I'm like, I can't say anything because, like, I'm at work, this is professionalism, and then she starts going off about trans athletes in the van, and I have other passengers in the van, and I'm like, oh my God, and I'm just going like, yeah, it's a sticky situation. I don't really know what, like, I don't know, man. It's tough. I don't know. How do you, like, because I'm on the clock for the job.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not like, and that's kind of how I view it for that. Like, yeah, he's there on his own. But if you remember, there was an incident that happened. I think it was during the George Floyd protests back in 2020 when there was it was in Minnesota, I think, and there was an not an off duty but a retired officer that was killed, and like he went off on that thing, and that caused enough of a stir to where like a lot of people on the left got real mad at him and started going after him online, and Campia pulled him from the show for like a hot minute until it died down. Right now, as far as I understand, John Campia, he is like a Canadian conservative, which is basically just a liberal. Okay, but it's but he's still more on that side. So he wants to protect his business. At the end of the day, all John cares about is his fucking business. Right. So, and Robert is a big part of that. But Robert will sit there and be mum when it comes to homophobia. But man, you fucking criticize Israel, and holy shit, that motherfucker's hair gets whiter.
Yeah, I've seen him on Twitter going crazy with that stuff, just going off on everybody.
Oh yeah, well and then someone tried getting me and him to go at it the other night, or like have me come on, and like I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, we can have a conversation.
We read that exchange on the stream. We read that exchange.
I was like, all right.
I texted you actually.
Okay, yeah. I was like, all right, yeah, that's fine.
I tried to respond to him because he's offering for people to do that. So I wanted to clarify what it was he was offering, and he never responded to me. I know he saw it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is he wants to play the victim, I think, on that particular front. Because I remember the night that him and I we'd gone at it. And I will fully admit, I fucking sent him a mean ass meme. I might have deleted it, but I gotta find it. It more or less was, because to go back to Joe's point about how he sits there during the most heinous shit being said, and then he doesn't say anything. I took a photo of Adolf Hitler giving a speech, and I photoshopped Robert Meyer Burnett in the audience, and it was just kind of like, it's an extreme point to be made there about how like you will go on these channels while these people are saying some of the most heinous shit, and you'll just be there like, I just like these guys. I think they're really fun to hang out with, but I mean, I don't agree with their politics, but they're fun people, you know? And like, that's my whole point. And he got real mad at me about that, which I completely understand. It was a low blow move, but that's where I go when I'm really pissed is I'm like, let me think of the one way to just get in under your skin.
Like he said something on the tweet about like coming on and debating him on his positions on stuff or whatever. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? No, if you have any problems with me is what he said. And I said, what do you mean by problems? Are you talking about like personally? Like, is that what you mean? Is it a vibes thing? Are we talking about objective movie criticism? What do you mean by problems? It's such a vague thing. If you have any problems with me, like, what does that mean? He
I don't
responded.
know. Yeah. It's one of those things where I feel like he has enough of a bubble that he can say that kind of stuff. Like when him and I were going at it, he invited me on his show. I was going live because like I did every night, and so I'm like, well, why don't you come on my show? And so I'm like, well, I'm not going to go on with you. I'm on with my audience right now. And so then, but on his show, like Nerdrotic came in, Jeremy Griggs came in, Critical Drinker came in, and they're all talking shit about me, right? So it's like he made a lot of money that night off of people who hate my ass and everything, because I wouldn't go on with him. But he wanted to like come to Olympia where I live, and
what was that? Can you explain that?
Yeah. So I live in Olympia, Washington. He's from the Seattle area. I think he went to college at Evergreen or something, which is not too far from where I live. And he was like, "Oh, I can come to your house and we can talk about Olympia." More or less is what it was. And I'm like, "Why do you want to come to my house?" Like fucking. Yeah. Like, it's so weird to say it like that. Like, why do you want to come? I got kids here, dude. It's like, you want to come to my house for? It's like, that's a weird
You want to meet at a bar and have some drink? Like, that sounds more like...
Yeah, this is Washington. It's Starbucks literally every corner. We could go find... I don't drink, so we could go get a coffee.
Yeah.
Or some shit like that. And it was very weird. And, like, I know what he was trying to do. Like...
Intimidate you a little bit or whatever?
I don't know if it was intimidate or just kind of be like, I know the area that you live, so we could kind of maybe bond over that. And I'm just going like, I don't care about where I live, to be honest with you. Like, Olympia is nice. It's a good place to raise kids. I would rather be, if you want to talk to me about San Diego, then we'll fucking go. But like, I'm
not a tough guy. Like, I'm not a tough guy. I've I'm very big, but I've never really been in a fight. That said, I'm not intimidated by Robert Meyer Burnett. If he's like, I'm coming to your house, I'm not really worried about that.
I'm not worried about it either. It was just a weird
Right.
thing to
It was,
say.
yeah, it is a weird thing to say.
No, I didn't mean to say you were worried. I
Yeah.
mean, like,
Yeah.
does he think he's
Well,
intimidated?
No, because there's a band here that came from here called Sleater Kenny, and that's a main street in in one of the cities here and everything. And I think he wanted to talk music, and I'm like, I don't fucking care, right? Like I was literally just by where Kurt Cobain lived the other day for work, and I'm just still just like I don't care, And I like Nirvana, but it's just the stupidest shit. It's like. It's all, like if you want to have a convo, I'm always down to have a conversation with like literally anybody. But it's like, that was all in my mind. That was just like him just trying to like, I think he's trying to get me mad enough to get me to go on his stream or something. And I'm like, do you want me to send you the video of when I drank an entire fucking latte from Starbucks and then debated Jeremy Griggs? Because that was fun. I did that a couple years ago. Another guy we know named Max was streaming and Jeremy was on and I was streaming. And Jeremy was like, yeah, you can bring Jarbo on. That's fine. And I had just finished like a venti latte from Starbucks with 450 milligrams of caffeine. And then my adrenaline spiked.
I remember that stream.
I went in
I'm surprised I wasn't on that night, actually.
I went in and I was so loud. I kept waking up my girlfriend. She's texting me from the other side of the house, like, will you shut the fuck up? And I was just like, I was going in on him. I was just hitting every point that he had and just destroying it like bit by bit. It was fun. Because it's not hard to destroy those arguments.
No. Well, I mean, you're talking about Jeremy Griggs, right?
Yeah.
Those guys. Like if you've ever watched, did you ever see Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic on Piers Morgan? Have you ever seen any of those?
No,
clips?
I know that it exists. I just.
Okay, so if you
watch
watch that, because Piers Morgan usually has 2 and 2. He has 4 guests, and there's 2 for one side and 2 for the other. Usually, is what he has. And he had them on there, and they had somebody challenging their opinion on movies, and they just shut the fuck up. They didn't even respond to anything that was being said to them because I think they have a series of answers in their heads or a series of things they say in their head. And anytime you challenge them on it, they just don't know how to answer it. Because the reality is, and people may not know this, but like Critical Drinker and Nerdrotic have a team of people that do everything for them.
Yeah.
Like they just get on camera and talk. They have people that write their scripts. They might give input, but they have people that write their scripts, do all their research, do their thumbnails, set up their streams, run all their shits. X-Ray Girl does a lot of stuff for Nerdrotic and Chris Gore. So it's like these guys have people doing everything for them. So if you ever try to debate them, you're debating someone who doesn't even know all of the information because someone else wrote it for them. So that's essentially what it is.
No,
That's
and
why
I remember
the only one of them who ever tried to do a debate was Eric July, and then he got his ass whooped, and he wouldn't do them anymore.
He doesn't.
Well,
do it anymore
Eric
either.
July, God, yeah, he won't. I mean, look, I will fully acknowledge Eric July found the grift that keeps on grifting, and but he's kept to himself for the most part. At least these days. I mean, don't get me wrong, Rippaverse is entirely a scam, but it's
Yeah, the funny thing was I was watching that stream with Eric July and Bob live when it happened, and then Eric July's after stream, the 2 hours after that ended. And I kept thinking, all these guys think that Bob lost the stream, but we're going to watch and see what happens. And then like 2 years later with EVS and all those guys, Bob's stream comes back, and now it is literally being used to discredit him everywhere. It's really funny.
I'm surprised that he was able to get the foothold that he did. It just seems to me like, I'm like, there's got to be, it's kind of like I was saying, I don't know if I said this when you guys, no, before you guys got here. Go back to 2016, right? The presidential election, Russia interference, Internet Research Agency, all that shit. One of the things they never talk about is, there's Twitter and there's Facebook are the 2 key things. I've always thought that there was a lot of YouTube manipulation going on at the time. I didn't really think about it in the moment because I was making so much fucking money. I was making between $300 and $500 a day back then, right? Like, I mean, just insane amounts of money for doing.
Was this
literally
before or
nothing.
after Ghostbusters 2016?
This was right after Ghostbusters 2016.
Okay.
This was in the political. The movie
That's how
already-
I found your content, by the way.
Yeah,
was Ghostbusters
yeah.
2016,
I stand
so.
by every goddamn thing I said about that movie, and I stand by it because I still went to the preview screening and I was like, please don't suck, and like that cold open was really good. I liked the cold open a lot. And I'm like, okay, good. I was wrong. This is going to be fun. And then it was not fun. And I stand by everything I said. And I still lament that I don't like that movie. You know that? Like I say that about The Last Jedi too. I don't like not liking a Ghostbusters or a Star Wars film. Like that's where I'm at with it. But I will say, credit where credit is due. The best thing Ghostbusters 2016 gave us was a funny Chris Hemsworth.
Okay.
See, I didn't think he was funny in it.
Dude, the bit with the eye with the glasses when he like rubs his eyes through the glasses and they have no lenses in them. I was like, that killed me. I thought that
I was extremely anti Ghostbusters 2016. I was still I wasn't on YouTube yet. I was still doing audio podcasts at that point. But I was telling my audience, do not support this movie. Do not support this movie. And my reasoning had nothing to do with women.
Chuddy
it was
Joe.
the same reason. It was the exact same reason I told my audience, don't go see the remake of Child's Play. And that is because the original creator, in this case, Dan Aykroyd, and with Child's Play, it was Don Mancini, they were having their property taken away from them when they were still trying to work on it. Dan Aykroyd and Ivan Reitman were working on a Ghostbusters sequel that brought back the original guys, and it was Amy Pascal that pulled the rug out from under them and was like, no, we're not doing that. And we all know what happened because of the leaked emails, because that was at the same time we had the Sony leak.
Back when Midnight's Edge was good.
And they were threatened. They were told, you need to support this movie or we're going to sue you and say that you like were an obstacle to the movie being made. And I was like, people are going like, you don't like women, you don't like women. That's not it. I don't like the fact that you're treating the original creator of the franchise who has another movie he wants to make like shit. And the same thing happened with MGM and Don Mancini, that when their MGM's like, we're going to remake Child's Play. And Don Mancini's like, please don't. Because I'm still working on the original franchise over here at Universal. I still have sequels I'm making.
I mean, didn't Seed of Chucky come out like right before then or something? Or
it was
or Cult of Chucky.
Curse of Chucky. And he was working on Cult of Chucky. So he had Cult of Chucky coming and the Chucky TV series. And MGM's like, no, we hold the remake rights. We're going to make it. And he was like, no, don't do that. So for me, it's like, people were always like, it's women, it's women, it's women. Dude, I got 2 daughters. I love Ray. I love Wonder Woman. Like, I go women. I'm all women. It was the creators being screwed over. That's what my issue was. Don't see Ghostbusters, don't see Child's Play.
What got me on Ghostbusters is the fact that Paul Feig is a very subversive filmmaker. If you go and you watch like Bridesmaids, it was The Hangover, but it was then flipped on its ear and turned into a relationship drama, like halfway through. The Heat with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy was basically just a buddy cop film written by Shane Black, but it just subversive. Where I mean, even I don't know, Arik, did you ever see The Heat with McCarthy and Sandra Bullock?
Mm-hmm.
Did you realize that Sandra Bullock was just playing Gracie Hart from the Miss Congeniality movies again? No, I'm not even kidding you. I'm watching, and I say this as a fan of both Miss Congeniality films. I think they're great.
God.
But if you go and you watch The Heat, she's literally playing Gracie Hart before the events of that movie when she's still reserved.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch it again now because that's funny.
It's funny because like it's just like that was a character, and I'm going like, oh, I've already seen this in better films, And then, but I will say, Spy was really good. I like Spy quite a bit. But then Ghostbusters was subversive of what Ghostbusters was. Like it tried. I don't even want to go into that fucking goddamn movie, but but back to what I was trying to say was I do believe now that there was heavy meddling with the algorithm in 2016 because all of us like that were in that skeptic YouTube space or anti SJW space or whatever, we saw massive insane growth like we had never seen before. We're talking subscribers, we're talking money. It was like this massive influence. Like, I mean, it was crazy. And then the next year, like, some people, we all lost out because it all went away because of the apocalypse. But then it started picking up again, like as stuff started getting more controversial with Trump and everything else. And I do think that there had to be I do think there was a push. I do, because I don't think there's any other way to describe it, because I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but my gut tells me that there was some influence going on there.
I think you might be right.
By the way, Parallax in the chat says James Rolfe's video on Ghostbusters caused a giant shit show. I remember that. James Rolfe basically put out a video. By the way, full disclosure, I don't know him well, but I do know James Rolfe. We're acquaintances. He lives local to me. I see him all the time at like local events. And I've talked to him about this. But he put out a video called "I'm Not Going to See Ghostbusters 2016."
Yeah.
And Devin Faraci over at Birth Movies Death?
Yeah. Badass Digest, yeah.
He put out an article called "The Soft Sexism on Hating on Ghostbusters 2016," and he called out James Rolfe and said, he says this is why he doesn't like it, but if we read between the lines, it's really this. And I was like, dude, you can't do that. He literally flat out told you what his issues were, and you're going, yeah, he said that, but I think it's that it's women. It's like, wait, based on what? And then it comes out David Faraci was sexually assaulting women.
He was accused of sexually assaulting one woman, and that ended up killing his career. And I never, you know what, shot her for it like a motherfucker. So that summer, right before Star Trek, was it the last one came out? Beyond came out. I was at Comic-Con, as I always do, and I'm in the press area waiting for the opening preview night, and I'm 2 feet away from Devin Faraci. And I recognize him. And I tell you one thing, I am not a violent person. My blood boiled. It boiled. Like, I mean, my fists were clenched. I wanted to sock the fuck out of this guy. And that's not me on a personal level. Like, I'm just not like that. But I've never been in a position where I've been so angry at a person. I legitimately turned to the woman next to me and I said, "Hi, I'm sorry to bother you. The person over my shoulder, I vehemently hate this guy and I'm going to do something stupid. Can I talk to you for a few minutes?" And she's like, "Yeah, absolutely." So we ended up, talking about other shit. And she let me kind of just like work through that moment and then go on with my day, which I was very thankful for because I was there by myself. And it was one of those things where it's like, if we would have made eye contact, I probably would have said some shit,
Matt, I was in the exact same situation. The exact same situation.
With him?
No. With, oh God, what's his name? Axonar.
Alec Peters.
Alec Peters.
And him and I are friends, right? I'm a disclosure. Him and I are friends.
I did not know that, but I have an intense hatred of Alex Peters.
That's understandable. I can see why people don't like Alec Peters. I really do. I can entirely see why.
I donated to Axonar.
Okay.
And do you know, well, I'll bring it full circle again. Do you know why I donated to Axonar? Because at the time, I trusted Robert Meyer Burnett, and he was attached as the director. So I gave money to Axonar. So I find myself at Dragon Con, standing at the bar at Trader Vic's. It's the only time I've ever gone to Dragon Con and taken my wife with me. She doesn't usually go with me. She was there that time. And I was standing at the bar ordering a drink, and I turn around and I find myself face to face with Alec Peters. And I am not a violent person. I am not violent at all. And my blood started boiling. And I just thought, I am going to hit this man. And I turned and said, "Christine, get me away now. Get me away now." And she's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because I'm going to hit the guy next to me." and she's never seen me like that before. So, yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I mean, I'm not proud of the moment. Don't get me wrong. It was just so long, almost 10 years ago now. And I don't even think like a lot of those people that were working in that sphere at the time are even still working in that sphere. I mean, the entire movie commentary world online is completely shifted. Now it's all mostly owned by Valnet, and they just Screen Rantify everything.
All those outlets are owned by the same companies.
They bought Flash Film too, right?
No, actually, I thought they did. It's another company that owns Slash Film, and I think Cinema Blend is owned by somebody else. But Valnet got Collider. They have Screen Rant. They've got I think Comic Book Resources. And I mean, if I show this occasionally on screen, I'm subscribed. I have an RSS feed for a lot of those outlets. I don't read it all the time, but I mean, they flood the market. They just flood the market with shit. And it is very difficult to keep up on anything going on.
Screen Rant is one of the worst, by the way. Just
300 articles a day.
Yeah.
On average that they put out. It's insane. And the thing is though, they all know it, right? The writers, a lot of them are now from India. So they're just coming from India. And then they also use like AI for everything. And I'm not against that, to be fair, but it's like, but you can tell because there's no like creative work that goes into it. It's just like copy paste. and it's oh, here we go. We got one for you here. Are you DJing a Star Trek party in Atlanta for Dragon Con?
I will be in Dragon Con. I will be DJing at Dragon Con. Yes,
All right,
that is true.
there you go. That's based. I'd like to go to Dragon Con, but it's on the other side of the country.
You should come to Dragon Con. Honestly, I think unless something else happens between now and then, Joe and I will be meeting in person for the first time at this year's Dragon Con.
When is it happening?
Labor Day weekend.
Okay. I mean, I'm not doing my cruise until Christmas, so I should be okay. I'm taking the kids on a 8-day.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I've done Comic-Con like 19 times, right? I've done San Diego 19 times. So it's like, that's, I know that one. I hear Dragon Con's even crazier.
Dragon Con is 20. So it used to be Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Then it was Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now it's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Yeah. And it's 24 hours. There's stuff going on 24 hours a day for the whole time that you're there.
That's how San Diego is. Like, that's how San Diego is. It's nuts. Because you're just like, when I first started going to SDCC, it was 2000. And I parked like right out front of the convention center where they had a parking lot there. And then now if you want to park anywhere nearby, you've got to like schedule it like 6 months in advance. It's nuts how much everything costs. But I've heard good things about Dragon Con.
It's good.
Where's Gen Con? Is that in the same area or is that just someplace
Indianapolis?
else?
Gen Con's Indianapolis.
Okay. Yeah, Dragon Con is like, honestly, my first Dragon Con was in the late 2000s, 2008, 2009. And that completely changed my life because that's what caused me to get into the fandom heavily, because I went there and I'm like, these are my fucking people. Like, this is what I like. This is the stuff that I want to really, get into, because before that, I didn't know that it even exists. Like, these huge communities existed, and it's just grown every year since then.
Yeah, Matt, I can't recommend that you get out there enough. It is the best. And I gotta ask, Sean says he goes a lot. Sean, are you going this year?
Yeah, I'd have to figure it out if I could even get off of work to go. It's it depends on where I'm at, because
apparently EVS has invited me to their their Comicsgate convention.
Oh shit!
I don't know. I don't know if you guys know each other because I've never seen him in your chat. Sean, Eric, do you know Sean?
I've seen Sean on your streams.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's a good guy. We disagree on a lot of things like Superman, but he's a good guy.
I saw him on that stream of yours that was completely insane.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, I think that's where I saw him.
I think that was the stream that broke me.
Yeah. He stopped streaming after that one.
Oh, I don't even know what happened. That was I'm so out of the loop.
Larry Nemechek. You know who Larry Nemechek is? Dr. Star Trek?
No. The name sounds familiar, but I don't think so.
He's known as Dr. Star Trek. He does like a Star Trek live stream once a week. He's written books on Star Trek, like the Star Trek The Next Generation Companion. He was supposed to be a guest, and we were going to talk Academy.
Right.
And he didn't.
And I was going to be there, but I had internet trouble. So.
He didn't show. And it was just Perp and I, and we're waiting to see if Larry's going to show up. And then I think Sean joined us, and then someone else joined us. And it drifted so far away from what the stream was supposed to be. Larry never showed.
Joe was sitting quietly for like 30 minutes, not saying anything.
It turned into a debate about like AI, and I'm sitting there like, this was supposed to be the Star Trek stream. I have no idea what happened.
Yeah, if anything like derails a stream, I've learned to just kind of go with it. Like last night, I wanted to talk about something else, and Chris joined up, and we just went. I think we spent like an hour and a half on the Trump administration. And I'm like, well, all right, fuck it. No one's going to listen to this shit when it's over anyway. So let's go. That can happen when you have those kind of streams, especially if you dropped like the link. That was a big thing with Max's old streams, is like he would drop a link and like anyone could come on in, and then it would just derail. So you got to kind of put the kibosh on that a little bit.
But let's be honest here. I saved a lot of Max's streams. Like Max would have like a boring stream going, and I would come in. And he'd be like, Joe, you ruined the stream. And I'll be like, no, I saved this stream.
No, Joe will come in and drop a hot take. Like everyone's like, I really like this movie. And Joe's like, it's trash. And then like everyone's like, what are you talking about? And it ends up just kind of being a big thing. And I think I agree with the arc though, about like just kind of like, getting together and enjoying talking about a film. One of my favorite videos I've done in the last couple of years is actually Sean O'Rourke and I spent like an hour and some change talking about the last Indiana Jones movie and how much we right after it came out. We both really liked it. you know, and it was a really fun conversation because the more we talked about it, the more we realized that it's basically a sequel to Temple of Doom more than anything else. And so like, and those kind of combos are a lot of fun when, you know, when you can get into it. And I'll listen to some of those at work sometimes, and it's just like, you know, but it's so hard to like find a consistent, like, you know, like a consistent thing, because I feel like, again, the algorithm doesn't show it, so then people don't want to engage with it because, or they don't want to do more of it because it's like, why am I spending my time doing this? You know,
I remember when YouTube used to rotate the front page with videos and streams. Like you would come to YouTube and like the front page would have somebody's video or stream auto playing on the front page of YouTube. That was years and years and years ago.
that would be nice. You know what? You know what I would like, and I actually recommended this to Team YouTube, and they kind of shot me down. As I think they should be an option. There should be an option that after about 6 months, you should be able to purge any non-active subscribers.
I agree. That's one of the, like, I tell people this all the time. Right now, YouTube, your subs don't matter as much as your engagement does. And having more subs than you have engagement actually hurts your channel. And it's usually from dead subs.
It is very true. But then the thing is, though, is like you say that to people, and then you can always tell the response from people that are just like, yeah, well, I have more subs to you, therefore my opinion is greater than yours or means more than yours. And I'm like, that doesn't mean anything because I don't know where you got those subscribers. You know,
Eric just got that tonight. You got that on your last video tonight. I don't know if you saw that.
Which what?
You were pushing back on Ryan Cannell about Starfleet Academy, and someone's like, I could tell you're envious because he has a lot more stream.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. I don't care about that stuff. Like my response to that always is, well, if they had less subs, would you still agree with them? Or if somebody with more subs said they were wrong, would you say they're still right? Like it's dumb.
Well, my thing is always like, okay, but I wouldn't want their subs.
No,
like I would not want their subs to sub to me. Like that's not the audience I want to hit.
I've even seen Chud say this. Like somebody with one subscriber can say something that makes more sense than somebody with 100,000 subs. Like,
right?
Yeah.
Your sub count is a combination of right moment, right time, luck, and the algorithm. That's usually what it is. And some people, I see channels with 100,000 subscribers that can't even get 500 views on a video. It's just the way it is.
My other channel that says 108,000 subs, I can't get more than like maybe 25 people watching the stream, you know? And that's, I mean, and it's like, you know, even when I was doing it more consistently, I still couldn't. After what happened. So, okay, so you know what happened to me 7 years ago, right? The whole fucking flagging thing.
Yes, actually, that I didn't know that you had changed channels when that happened. You just kind of stopped making videos, and I was like,
I changed the name. Yeah, well, believe it or not, they left 3 Buck Theater alone. It was weird. It was super weird.
Because I remember you were on Mundane Matt. That's the one that I remember.
Yeah. I changed. I dropped it and just made it the Matt Jarbo channel. I just figured I would just kind of move away from Mundane Matt. Because I was like not happy doing it, and so that's why people would be like, "Well, are you mad about what happened?" And I'm like, not anymore. You know, like I was sure, but it's been almost 8 years. Like I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm like, all right, like I'm much happier with this job that I've got where I just drive people around and I get to talk about everything, you know, and like I'll make people laugh. I'll tell them my governor story, and because I ran for governor of California when I was 21, and I'll tell people that story. I get them laughing so hard they slip me a $50 tip extra. You know, it's like, fuck it. This is way better for me.
Yeah.
You know, than doing this shit I mean, don't get me wrong, I would love to be able to do this every day. I mean, I have the passion for it, but it's like, there's just, it would have to, I think, fit very specific circumstances for it to ever happen again. And at the same time, it's like, I don't want my identity, and I don't want my, I don't want my identity tied up in this shit anymore. I don't want to sit there and be like, oh no, I lost subscribers or I lost money this month. I've got to amp it up because I gotta maintain that fucking level, you know? Because you know how it is, like when you're making money doing this shit, like your taxes are like way different. So like, you know, the amount of money you might make doesn't mean that's the money you get to keep.
Yeah, it's like I always put 50-50. Everything I make, I take 50% of it and just put it to like a side account. So.
Yeah, I mean that's what
I usually end up getting most of it back, but the point is I always overcompensate for it. So
I do that with my job now, because when I got hit towards the end of 2018. So I had all that, like I lost 80% of my income basically overnight, when that happened, and so I'm like going back on my savings, which was meant for other stuff, and so I'm playing catch up still, but it's fine, you know. I think for me, a lot of it is just like this world would be great because I'd love to like pick a different movie, talk about a different movie every day.
Yeah.
You know, like watch it, talk about it, whatever. Because there's, you know, infinite movies to watch basically. But it's just like, for one, not everybody's going to want to be, you know, to talk about that certain film. Not everybody's going to want to be able to, you know, or maybe not everyone has seen it, or it's not anything that they really give a shit about, which is why the new stuff tends to work the best, because it's fresh on everyone's mind. And it's like, you know, but I mean, like, I'll tell you this, the last time I think everyone was kind of on board for being happy was like when The Mandalorian dropped in 2019, you know, like all those years ago, like that, everyone was stoked to talk about The Mandalorian until episode 4. And then Gina Carano, you know, beat up Mando and everyone was like, she's a Mary Sue. And then they all loved her and, you know, everything else. Oh, man. Did you ever watch that movie, by the way? Did you ever watch that Terror on the Prairie?
No.
Yes, I did watch that.
It was basically just Home Alone. That's all it really was. Is it was just Home Alone.
But by the way, you know, you were saying when you were saying that would the opinion matter if there were more subs? It reminded me of once being on Enosh's panel over on Poindexter Lounge, and I said something, and he says, "Well, everybody here disagrees with you, so we must be right because like you're the only one who thinks that. Everyone disagrees." And I said, well, if I went to the Flat Earthers convention and said the Earth was round, would that make me wrong because everybody disagreed with me in the room?
Yeah, don't. Enosh is such a fucking piece of shit. Like, he's such a liar. This is a guy, I'm not even kidding you, right? So you have the Snyder Cut comes out, and then Enosh had always wanted to get in on it. So, like, he was, like, friends with, like, Ray Porter, who voiced Darkseid, and he, like, you know, had Ray Fisher on his stream a couple times, and you know, there was a time where his wife, well, his ex-wife, was on like this one like basically Snyder fandom but for women stream, and they got Zach to come on in, and then Enoch wormed his way into the live stream to be able to talk with Zach. You know, it was like so apparent what he was trying to do. But when everything was going, I don't know if you've ever followed any of the post Snyder Cut drama.
Me?
Yeah, no, Arik, have you ever followed any of that?
Yes. Yeah.
It's bad. It's bad. Like, it is. Oh wow, it's like remedial with a hard R. Like, it's just it's so bad. And anyway, so he was going on and he was saying like, well, he kept saying, you don't know what I know about it being continued, about it being restored and everything. And I'm going like, you don't know anything. Like, you don't. There's no metric for this to come back, like, at all. Like, you don't know the industry. Like, I'm sorry. Like, the only reason why we got the movie was because they'd already filmed it. You know, like if they hadn't have filmed all of it, we wouldn't have ever gotten it. They just would have kept it there or whatever. It was like, no, what are you talking about? And it's just, he's like, no, but you don't know what I know. You don't know what I know. And then that finally just made me to say, fuck that guy. You know, and he doesn't do YouTube anymore, and we're all better off for it. Well, I should say his wife cheated on him. She left him. He spiraled out, crashed out hard. Yeah. And then
he's full Trump now too.
Oh yeah. No, the shit he was saying about Gaza on his Facebook was just like, ooh, yeah, no, I'm good, thank you. You know, I had a buddy of mine the other day. He's a New York liberal, but he was going off. He hates Mondami, right? And you know, he starts talking about like Israel, and I'm just going like, so how do you feel about like 60,000 people being killed? And he goes like, he's like, casualties of war, and I'm like, oh, okay. So you're totally like, I just kept pushing him to basically say like, you don't care that women and children were killed. All right. Which is completely unrelated to what we're talking about, but still. I mean, but that's kind of the internet. You know what I mean? It's like the whole thing. Like you like, and this is, maybe you have a comment on this or not, but like, have you ever noticed how like it doesn't really matter what it is? Like, you almost, when you do this content, you have to have an opinion about everything. Like, you're not really allowed to not have an opinion. And in the case of the Fandom Menace guys, even if they don't have an opinion, they still have to have the same opinion as everybody else.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can see that. And it's so fucking sad that people are so desperate for relevance that they basically, it's like high school fucking cafeteria all over again. So
Is so like no content at all. That person disappeared completely from making videos.
Oh no, Enosh.
Yeah.
Occasionally he does a live stream. He's a pastor of a church, by the way.
Oh.
And what's really funny about that, and he got really mad at me because his grandmother raised him and more or less raised him to be a pastor. So I'm like, oh, your grandmother groomed you to be a pastor, and that kind of set him off a little bit. That word kind of set him off a little bit. But I'm like, it's kind of true, And so he's taken over the church, and yeah, it's a whole fucking thing. A lot of the people that were around for the Snyder stuff aren't doing it anymore. It's like the same thing with Gamergate, right? Like the people that talked about Gamergate, they're not really. A lot of them, vast majority of them, aren't even around anymore.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to sit there and act like
it's funny you mention that. I realize I haven't seen anything from like the Snyder group in months now. It feels like I don't see any push from it. There's the occasional person with like Snyder verse or Snyder cut in their handle, but I don't see a push like it used to be.
It's not push as much. It's right now you've got the Netflix Warner Brothers deal. And so that's kind of got those guys a little bit worked up because a couple of them, and this is where I think it's really funny, but also just like tragic in and of itself, is that so a lot of the crazies, and I mean the crazy of the crazies, started this movement, sell Snyderverse to Netflix, a couple of years ago, and they were pushing it hard.
We were actually just talking about him on.
Oh, Skiwalker? Skiwalker? Okay, yeah, right. Did you ever and this guy?
I saw the videos, yeah.
But did you ever hear about when he went to what he thought was Zack Snyder's production company?
No.
Okay. I gotta tell this, right? So you've seen Skiwalker, right? So the dude's not all the way there. All right, he can't be. So this is in 2023. Did you ever hear of a guy named Mikey Sutton?
Yes.
Okay, so Mikey Sutton is dead, just to kind of put that there. He died in August of 2023. It's sad, but he's gone. And so ever since then, they fell apart because Mikey
I didn't know he had passed away. Yeah.
Yeah, he died in at the tail end of August in 2023. And it is sad. I knew Mikey. He lived not far from me and everything, but then he kind of went full psycho, right? He got in with those guys, and all they did is heap praise on him nonstop, and it just built it up. To give you a quick side example, there's one guy, his name is Zod Rider, and I will have to walk you through a rabbit hole of him at another time, because holy shit. But anyway, Zod Rider wanted to write a book about the release the Snyder Cut movement and the restore the Snyder Cut movement, and he wanted to beat Sean O'Connell, who had written one the guy from Cinema Blend had written a book about it, and he wanted the true story of the Snyder Cut. So he started getting, from what he was saying, all of these quotes from Walter Hamada over there at Warner's and before he left, and all of this shit. And it was just wait, what? You're getting all of these quotes from people that are all close to Zach? Well, then Mikey Sutton dies, and you find out that he has to put the book on pause, which is funny because the book was called Pause, Not Stopped. And then he had to pause it indefinitely because when Mikey died, he could not verify the quotes he was given. So that means that Mikey was just giving him these quotes.
Right.
And there's a high probability they're not, I would say there's about probably a 99.9% probability that shit ain't even real.
Right. And we've had other people doing that stuff too. It's funny because I think, didn't Doomcock have some fake ass person giving him information?
Yeah, I mean, Doomcock had his spies everywhere and everything. And I mean, his relevancy has gone down too, but he's also kind of like Mike Zero, stayed in his lane. Although Mike Zero is just, oh my God, have you seen that guy?
Was Mike Zero ever part of the club? I never saw him interact with any of the other guys.
Mike, no. Mike, he always stayed in his own lane. As far as I know, he always stayed in his own lane, and he's been able to live there for all of these years. And after the Rise of Skywalker came out, and everything he said that was going to be in the movie was not in the movie, and you figured that was going to be the end of it. That was going to be the end of him. It wasn't. He pivoted to full blown right wing chud, and I mean. He's got about 600,000 subs now, I think, or something. And it's dude, it's still the same nonsense, but it's all culture war shit now. But anyway, so going back to Ski Walker and this whole thing. So Ski Walker all of a sudden one day shows up at a random office building in West LA wearing a black suit.
I was actually just trying to find the picture so you can bring it on screen, but I can't
Yeah,
find it in the
I think I've got it somewhere. I might have deleted it. It's been so long. But I think I might know where I have it stored. Anyway, so he ends up. Okay, I got a editor. Oh, god damn it. Okay. All right. It's 2023. No, come on. Please don't tell me I deleted it. I have a program that does snapshots and like it stores it by like the date and everything, and I think I might have accidentally deleted those because more or less the long and short of it is he goes to this building. He's holding up what looks like a 10th grade diorama report, right, of like restore the Snyderverse or whatever, or sell Snyderverse to Netflix, and he's outside of this building in West LA. And he goes, I'm outside of Stone Quarry Productions, and this is Zack Snyder's, production company, right? And so that's what he says that he's at. Well, it turns out that Mikey Sutton gave him the address, and that's where he went. What Mikey Sutton gave him was he looked up Stone Quarry LLC, and that's the registered agent of the LLC is this random accountant in fucking West LA, right? And Zack Snyder's production company is in Pasadena, which is all the way in the San Gabriel Valley. It's a distance, And so I'm like, so he shows up there like that, and it's just the stupidest, funniest thing ever. And like, they just kept going with it. Like they did the Snyder cut in IMAX, and he shows up in the black suit, and pays all this money, tries to get Zack Snyder to sell the Snyderverse to Netflix on the poster, and Zack Snyder says like, "Oh, Snyderverse, sell it or whatever," and it's like they live in a delusional fantasy world, and that's where they've been for years. And so then they started doing this Netflix thing, and then Warner Brothers comes out and says, "Oh, we're buying Netflix," so all that does is just give them all the fuel that they want. That's a long way of going about it, but I don't have the photo saved. Damn it, I wish I did. It is one of the weirdest things ever. So.
You've seen that clip, right? That I snagged from one of his streams where he we were watching it on Perp Stream. Where none of what he said made sense. Someone says to him, "How come you're not still friends with Silla Abdul?" And he goes, "Well, after what he did that one time when he started caping on the big dog, that shit was unforgivable."
Is that where that came from?
And he was going, and we're like, "What did he just say?" We heard the words, but none of it made any sense.
Well, like these guys will sit there and they do what they call serial and cartoons, and it's meant to be this Netflix engagement event where there's 10 of them that they all watch a cartoon show at the same time on a live stream, and they talk about it, which is cool. Don't get me wrong, to have that group with your friends and shit. But they're like, we're showing Netflix and we got the engagement, so they're gonna know that we mean business. And it's like, no, man, that's not how this works. They don't understand it, but that is just the world that they live in, and now they're kind of. I think maybe most of the people are kind of just out of the game on it. They just don't care anymore. Because all these things eventually they don't really have that long of a shelf life. So, let me ask you this, because I see, you've talked about how Nerd and those guys seem to be kind of on the downward swing. Do you ever think that they're truly going to go away, or are they just going to pivot?
I don't think that the bigger ones would ever totally go away, but they're going to have to cut some losses at some point. Because the thing about it is, you look at the smaller channels with a smaller overhead, it doesn't matter. They can run on fumes for a while. They might stop doing it altogether. The guys that are doing their own thumbnails and stuff like that, they don't care too much. But you have Nerdrotic and Critical Drinker, Geeks and Gamers. They have an entire ecosystem that works. They're functioning business. If the money keeps coming down and the views are going down, they're going to have to fire people. And we saw it with Quartering. He's like, Quartering's a pretty good example, right? He has been very open about having to fire employees because he said, I had 10 employees, now I'm down to 5 people, now I'm down to 3 people because the numbers aren't good. The money's not good. I don't even know if does he still do streams with like Melanie Mack anymore? Because he's paying her like $3,000 a month or something.
I have no idea. Like,
but
I
was just going to say, like, you know, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying because I haven't followed up with Piss Bucket in a while, but like doesn't he have like the Quartering and then he's got like the like Midwestern, whatever the name of that channel is. Does he have another one that I don't know?
I don't even know really because I think he's had to shut down a lot of stuff. But the thing is, he's very transparent about what's happening to him, and this is what got him in the fight with Jeremy and all those guys a couple weeks ago because he called him out. And the bigger channels can survive, but they're not going to survive without casualties. And that means like losing people that work for them. That's the only way it's going to happen. And then we will see a decline in like content output because now you have like Nerdrotic Daily, Nerdrotic live streams, Nerdrotic 2, Nerdrotic 3. They have all these channels because the output level is so high. So once they have to start consolidating all of that, which by the way, everyone asks me why they have multiple channels. There's a couple of reasons. And I know, Matt, you know this, and Joe probably knows this. YouTube only lets you upload a certain amount of videos a day before they start like not showing your videos to your subscribers. So these guys have multiple channels so they can put out more than 3 videos a day. They can live stream more than once a day. So that way they don't get with like a YouTube punishment for doing that. So once these channels are seeing much more diminishing returns on their content, those channels will go away. Those live streams will go away. We're already seeing it. The Nerdrotic Nooner is almost an afterthought. Now that's a stream with him and Chris Gore and X-Ray Girl. And sometimes Mauler will come in. Sometimes, you know, have someone else there. But those streams have become an afterthought to them because the money isn't good for those streams. So they just sort of happen when they happen. That's the first sign that something is wrong with their business, is that he doesn't do a consistent like Nerdrotic Nooner anymore. The running joke is, tell us when you're going to do it instead of telling us when you're going to cancel it, because it's canceled more than it happens. And we're just going to see more and more of that. That's my theory. And the only reason I feel confident in this is I've been really right. I've been pretty consistently right about the changes they've made to their content over the last 3 years, just watching what they're doing. And the numbers are there. They're public. I don't use stuff like Social Blade. I literally go to their channels and I do the math per video, per month, per week, per year to come up with where they are. Yeah. That's how I do it. So I'm not using Social Blade. I'm actually using the numbers that they have on their channels. And the numbers are not good. You have a channel with 2.3 million subs and you're not even getting 1 million views per video. That's detrimental. Matt, you know the numbers. That's not good. You're seeing your dead subscribers are dragging your channel down. Somebody invested money in buying subs for them. They're not doing it anymore. And now the channels are seeing diminishing returns on videos.
See, I mean, it's like the analytics will show how many of your subscribers are watching, you know, like, and so I wonder, well, then see, but then again, it's like, I do have to wonder how many people may have unsubbed from the channel on accident because there has been like a weird YouTube glitch. I mean, not to the extent of what you're saying, like that would be massive numbers. But what you've got is you've also got, when I was doing it, I would notice I would get about probably 10 to 15% of my channel subscribers would be watching my content on a daily basis, right? So, I mean, that was, you know, that was still decent numbers for me back then, but it was like about 10%. And I've looked at some of what like the Quartering has done, and he's rocking about 10%, you know? And like, so yeah, the growth is just not there. People are either like not, because I'll tell you this though too, I'll get notifications for stuff that got posted 2-3 days ago. Yeah. Like on my phone. So YouTube, their notification system does not push out content like that's relevant. And if you're getting content, if you do put out content that is relevant and people aren't watching it, like, and they're not getting the notification right away, then by the time they get to it, they're not going to go back and watch it because no one's going to give a shit about something from 5 days ago. You know, and like John, I was watching, there was a clip someone had posted on the John Campea subreddit yesterday about how he won't review a movie that he hasn't seen within the first 48 hours of release because there's just no point. And I'm like, he's not wrong.
Right.
That's the thing with that. He's not wrong. Like, you have to be on this shit. That's why it's like, if you're going to go into politics, it's so lucrative, but you have to be on it like constantly.
Oh yeah, that's like I've told people before. They'll come into my Q&A videos and they'll say, "Oh, what is your thoughts on like this political thing and that political thing?" I have a lot of thoughts on it. I don't have enough hours in the day to do politics. If you're not competing with the political channels at the same level, it's not going to do you any good. You have to do what Jeremy Griggs is doing, which is pretty much turn your entire content output into political content output. That's the only way to do it.
By the way, I want to comment on something Forth said here. Forth said,
Yeah.
I noticed the anti-woke, anti-women, nerdrotic drinker groups all get along with no infighting compared to the pro-positivity groups who have a lot of infighting. Now, Eric will know the facts better than I do, but that is not true. There's a lot of infighting. Like the two Jeremys are going at it right now. Jeremy from the Quartering and Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers. They have a thing going right now.
Are they still going at it?
Hasn't Melanie Mack been kicked out of their groups?
Yes, Melanie Mack no longer does anything with them.
Not Nerdrotic. Mecha Random famously was kicked out.
That was beautiful.
Yeah, they have a lot of that.
That was gorgeous when that happened. I mean, for one, Mecha Random is just an absolute abhorrently terrible human being. I don't know if you've ever experienced her at all, Ark. Have you ever dealt with her?
Yeah, I know. So the funny thing is, people are surprised about how much I know. I know a ton about Mecha Random 42. I was watching her content years and years and years ago, and what does she call herself? The YouTube harpy or whatever, and she would drag out the little paddle or the little like riding crop or whatever. Like, yeah, I was watching her a while ago, and then it's like all of a sudden it was like she was doing okay views wise, and then it's like complete drop off. It was like off a cliff. It was pretty incredible.
Well, do you remember a one by the name of Jesse Milestone?
Oh, yes. I remember Jesse Milestone.
So Jesse Milestone, I don't like her at all. But she got ousted out as well. But I want to show you guys this. This is one that I do have saved. See if you can notice something a little off-putting about what she and her boyfriend are doing while everyone's locked down. This is all from 2020. Her just sitting there sipping on a coronavirus. Mm-hmm. I just thought that was like fucked up.
Yeah.
I did not care for that.
I'm kind of curious. Truth is Obvious says I'm bisexual. Are you the one, Truth is Obvious, who told us that Steve Arts had a video where he said I'm the casual bisexual? Because I cannot find that video. If you were the one who told us that, please let me know where I can find that video, because I have not been able to find it.
Wait, are you bisexual?
No. Apparently, do you know who Steve Arts 89 is?
No.
Supposedly, Steve Arts 89 put out a video that I haven't been able to find where he said I was casually bisexual. Which my joke is, what does that mean? I'm bisexual, but I wear a Hawaiian shirt while I'm doing it. Like, what is casually? Like, as opposed to formerly bisexual, I wear a tux. You know?
I
found it hilarious.
People on the internet say the darndest things. You know, they just say the darndest shit all the time, and that's part of the problem with it. Is just like people just say stuff. I remember.
I was sorry, I mean to interrupt you. I was just gonna say, I believe Jessie Milestone was a Philly girl, so on behalf of Philadelphia, we apologize. But go on.
Oh no, I mean, like, the thing is though, like with Mecha Random, I think. Oh, here it is. I think this is the one. I don't know how I found it. Oh no, okay, so she had, Mecha Random threatened to call the FBI on me.
Really?
I remember that.
Yeah. Here we go. This one, it kind of gives you guys an idea of it. So this is from back in, I don't even remember when this was, 2019 maybe. So she was, here we go. So she says, because here's the thing about me, Mecha Random 42 is threatening to sue me over criticism, which is true. She actually did, because I had criticized her review of Black Panther, because she didn't actually watch the movie. She watched a Mahler review of the movie and claimed that was, seeing the whole movie. So I criticized her for it. So she says here, I've even said I will take legal action to get a restraining order and sue if needed. She tagged the FBI on Twitter, trying to get the FBI to come after me.
Oh my God.
So, I thought that was funny. But again, listen, hey, listen, you know what? I will always like to make fun of myself here. Okay? So, we don't run from criticism. Here you go. This is a funny meme, I get the owl from Owl Toy Barn all the time. So, there you go.
I keep getting carpetbagger. People keep telling me I look like the carpetbagger. And I don't think I do. I'm much taller than he is. I've met him. And I'm much taller than he is. He was actually in Philly last week, and I'm very insulted. He has my phone number.
Who
He
is the
didn't call me.
carpetbagger?
Jacob the Carpetbagger. He's a YouTuber.
I'm gonna look this up.
Oh, I do not know. I do not know him. I apologize.
I've met him.
Oh, I know who this guy is. Yeah, he does like road reviews and stuff like
Right.
that. Right.
He
Yeah,
was
yeah.
really good friends with my friend Adam. Adam and Carpetbagger were really close. I've met Carpetbagger. He knows who I am. He's got my number. I keep telling him, when you're in Philly, give me a call. He never gives me a call, and I'm starting to take it personally.
Yeah, I don't. The only similarities are the glasses, and he's bald.
Yeah. But I've been confused with him twice now. I was at a convention. I was at a Comic-Con, and someone came up to me and they go, "I watch you on YouTube. You're the Carpetbagger." And I said, "No, I'm not the Carpetbagger." And then when I did my my video, my Remembering Adam the Woo video, I got a comment on there that said, "Oh my God, Carpetbagger has a doppelganger?" ? And I'm like, "What? Why do I keep getting this Carpetbagger? I look like Carpetbagger."
Dude, okay, so like the problem with looking like me, and Arik and I kind of look similar in some ways, where we've kind of like bigger white dudes, or at least white passing, with beards and glasses and hats. It's a particular phenotype, right? So I always like to make the joke that comic conventions are just a cloning factory, small, medium, and large. Yeah. And I'm like the medium, and because my first time when I went to E3, it was like that. It was just, I walked in and I'm just like, wow, I look like everybody else here. I've never felt more with my own people.
I just did some quick math while we were sitting here. Critical Drinker has a 34% slower growth rate from 2025 to 2026 than 2024 to 2025. He had a 14.5% growth rate from 24 to 25, but only a 9.5% growth rate from 25 to 26.
Huh.
So
I better get going. It's
probably me too. It's almost 4 a.m.
Yeah, it's 1 a.m.
Time flies. We're sitting here chatting. I was like, I'll jump over for a little bit, and it's like we've just been chatting right along.
Yeah.
No, it's good to chat with you guys. I was actually hoping you guys are going to be streaming. I didn't know you were streaming tonight because my days off are usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then today I guess we're just slow at work, and so they said like they didn't even bother to call me. They just didn't add me to the schedule.
Oh.
So I'm just like, am I working today? I text my boss. I'm like, so I'm assuming it's slow because I'm not on the schedule, and he goes like, well, that's one way to look at it, or look at your schedule for tomorrow, and I gave you a really good shift. It's a shitty shift. No, it's easy. It's an easy day. I'm not worried about it, but it's just like, I literally drive around in a Mercedes with heated seats and air conditioning, listening to whatever I want to listen to. And like, I'm by myself all night long. I can go wherever I want when I'm not picking up people. I've gone and seen a movie. It's like, I'll log in with our tablet. We have a tablet that's right mounted on our dash, and I'll just like go over to like Tubi or something and like log in and watch a movie while I'm on break,
What movie did you see?
This was a couple of years ago. I was
okay.
able, right when I started, I was able to go see The Creator. I snuck off to go see that, which I thought was really good.
Did either of you see Send Help yet?
No.
No, that is a movie I was going to see today, but I wasn't able to go, so I'm going Saturday morning.
I'm anxious to talk about Send Help with somebody.
Okay,
You didn't like it though, right?
I liked it until something happened. And when
Okay.
this one thing happened, it derailed the whole movie for me. And I'm like, why did you do that? Why did you go there?
Well, the guys who wrote that are the same guys who did Freddy versus Jason, and the 2009 Friday the 13th remake, as well as the 2017 Baywatch movie. And I say that just because like just last week they followed me back on Twitter, so we talk a little bit. I've been talking with more writers on Twitter, like more like which is pretty cool actually because they're pretty open about a lot of stuff. But they're very excited because they started this to get Sam Raimi on board 6 years ago to get this movie made. And Sam Raimi actually fought for it to go to theaters versus going straight to streaming.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, like, I want to see it. I just don't know why they shot it in 3D. I just think that's such a waste.
I didn't know they did. I didn't see it in 3D.
Yeah, well, he was saying that the one of the writers, I was like, my theater is really pushing 3D right now, and I'm just like, I don't want to see it in 3D.
I haven't seen a 3D movie in so long.
I mean, like, Avatar is like the only ones I will truly go see, like, in the best format possible, because I know what's going to go into that. But I'm like, why would I need to see a movie about two people stuck on, like, Castaway with psychos? Like, why do I need to see that in 3D? And I don't know. Apparently, it's good in 3D. I don't know.
By the way, to truth, I'll definitely be putting out a video from Dragon Con. Check the Crazy Joe Adventures channel. I will. I might even go live from the. I sometimes I go live from backstage at the Dragon Con parade.
Nice.
Actually, the Dragon Con parade several years are up on my Eric's Reloaded channel. So
I usually ride in the Bluesmobile. I'm usually in the car for the Bluesmobile.
Nice.
I'm reading that comment and I'm wondering if it means something more insidious. Because
will you put out a 6 tape? I guess the question is, who's the top?
I mean, my wife isn't going this year, so that would be awkward.
Clap some cheeks.
I read that twice. I was like, what are they saying? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Oh, man. That's well, you know what? Listen, hope you guys have a good time.
You still going to Dragon Con, Jarbo?
I mean, it's been a minute, you know what I'm saying? I've been busy, so, like, I don't know. I hear it's like, it's fine.
Yeah. Actually, the best thing about that for me is the 24-hour D&D stuff. Like, they have that downstairs in a couple different hotels during Dragon Con. That's a lot of fun.
See, I've never played D&D ever. So
well,
I
even
would
if
like
you're
to
not
watch
playing,
it.
you could still go down there and watch the people playing and grab something to eat. It's usually a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always wanted to, like, it always seems like it's like up my alley for, like, stuff. I've just never been in a position to play it.
I was invited to play D&D a couple years ago at Dragon Con. Friends of mine were playing D&D, and I was like, I never played D&D. Maybe I'll play. And I decided, no, I'm just going to watch. And I watched them play for an hour or two, and then I regretted it that I didn't play. And I said, next year, I'm going to play. And the next year, I didn't get there. Something came up, I didn't get there. But I heard their Dungeons and Dragons game went on for 8 hours. And I was
they probably played a whole campaign is what it was. That's
and you know what? I said, well, now I'm never going to play D&D. Because if I'm at Dragon Con, I want to go out and see Dragon Con. I don't want to be sitting playing.
That's somebody that is somebody doing like a full on campaign. Like they're not doing a one shot. One shot's a really quick one. So yeah, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, I've always kind of wondered like how long those are, like, because I know they have Critical Role and that does really well, and but I feel like if you can't just come in randomly. On
we
it.
do. I'm DMing. I'm actually DMing a campaign for my group right now, and it's taken us 4 sessions at like 2 hours a session to get done. But we have done one shots where it's like you sit down, order pizza, grab some drinks, 3 hours of playing, and then that's it. So. That's usually a pretty good one. Like just a little one-shot journey, a dungeon crawl, or whatever you want to call it.
Oh, nice.
So, but I'm going to jump out of here. Thank you for inviting me, Matt. I do appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Been wanting to talk to you guys for a while, so I'm glad we could do that. It's always good to chit-chat about a multitude of subjects.
Yeah.
And people have been hanging out, so it's not bad. It's been pretty good.
Yeah, and anytime you want to stop in, just let me know. I'll send you a link over.
Yeah. You guys, if I'm home and I'm able to, I usually because you guys are on the East Coast or whatever, so it's usually around the time you guys are going, I'm like just getting ready to put my kids to bed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's always like because
maybe tonight, on a weekend then, maybe a weekend or something.
I work evenings. and I do 12-hour shifts.
So it's the opposite. Like it's the opposite problem on the weekends.
This was a happy accident, you know.
Yeah.
So
well, if you ever want to invite me and I drop in your stream, you can always invite me.
Yeah, man, absolutely. No, I watch your vids, you know, and I agree with a lot of what you say. You know, because there's some stuff there that there was one thing you said recently on I think it was on a Friday feedback video or whatever. And it was about the algorithm and about how things work. And I forgot what it was specifically, but I was like, you're on like, I think I wanted to correct something you said, but I forget what it was. But like
if you remember, just let me know.
yeah. It's mostly just like the way that some of the stuff plays out.
Yeah.
But
I'm okay with feedback. People think that I'm unapproachable. That's not true. Yeah, I'll take feedback.
No, I don't think you are. I don't, and I think you're coming at it from like an honest perspective. You're not like, you know, you're not going like, well, these guys fucking suck. So it's like, you know, they're losing. You know, it's like, but you can tell the way that what the quartering said about Griggs bothered him.
Yeah.
You know, and like, so at that point, he's got to puff his chest out, whip his little thing out.
That was a good week. I did like 5 videos that week on that topic. It was so good. So
you know what? It is the grift that keeps on grifting. So that's how it works.
And then I could just grift off of that if they want me to. So anyway, but thanks. I appreciate it. And I'm going to jump out. So we'll catch you guys later.
I
Have a good
one.
one.
Too.
Thank you guys. I appreciate you coming by. All right. There's Joe. All right. Are you mute? He's gone. Okay. Well, that was fun. That was a good time. Did I get your super chat? I went MIA, so I don't know what oh no, I didn't. Here we go. Chobot, Donovan, Brandon, Benson, Cheeseman need one more. Yeah, Jesus Christ. I have my sinister 6 of morons. Oh, jeez. Well, I mean, like Chobot, you know, he keeps to himself. Donovan is insane. Brandon, thankfully, has kind of fucked off. Okay, unless I start talking about AI shit, and then he'll be back to yell at me. Benson, if I unblock him, he'll probably be in the chat. I think he's here every night, and he's just typing away, but he's been blocked, so he doesn't. No one sees it, you know. So you have a person just sitting there and going like, "I have no life. This is what I do." And then Cheeseman is just a wet blanket, as I've always said. Thank you, Parallax, for being here. I do appreciate that. Also, again, funny avatar. You need a good DM and the most unhinged players. I think the problem with me is like I tend to take that shit really seriously, you know, and that's a bad thing, to be fair. It's not that I'm like crazy about it, but it's mostly just like I take it seriously in the sense of I like there to be a good story. I like there to be all this shit, you know. It is what it is. You DM me a sorry. Yeah, we'll take a look at that here. I'm not ending it just yet. I do need to go take a leak. That is true. I could put on the Star Wars thing while I go take a leak. Just missed the first minute of it. But I know David, I don't know if he's still here or not. I don't like to crowd the streams. So if David wants to come back in, David can come back in. I don't know if Fourth is still here. I always enjoy talking to Fourth. So I'll drop that. Let me bring up the thing, and then I got to take a leak real quick. All right. Which one is this? Did you just download this from, like, one of the Star Wars things? Oh, yeah. Ooh, okay. Let's see here. All right. If Sean O'Rourke is here, get ready to trigger Sean. Right? We're gonna trigger Sean. What the hell? Okay, give us. What's it doing? Okay, hold on. Sometimes StreamYard has its problems. Is that working? Is it working here? Hold on. Yeah, it's not. It's. I'm trying to bring it up, but it's not coming up. I wonder if that's just a Google Drive thing. Maybe that's what it is. Hold on. Is there a link you can actually give me a link to? If you could like actually give me, I don't know why it's in fucking Google Drive. Because it looks cool, but I can't. It's not coming up on StreamYard. It won't let me download it. So let me see. Maybe hold on here. Okay, file. Okay, hold on. Yeah, let me see if I can download it. Jesus Christ, it's 1.2 gigs. All right. That's going to take a few minutes. All right, hold on. What I've got is James Cameron will show the nuke. Yeah. Anthony Cheeseman is weird why he checks up on me. I have no idea. I think a lot of the problem when it comes to people like that is like they know, because I'll call him a wet blanket to his face. I don't give a shit. The guy's a wet blanket. Like, fuck that guy. But it's just like the whole thing of like, giving you the opportunity to come on in. All right. I'm downloading it. It's going to take a few minutes. So let me just put on. Okay, hold on. I will just bring up here that. Where's that? Okay, this is just 2 minutes long. It just gives me the opportunity to go and do what I need to do.
It reruns at the edge of the universe, lives a channel you weren't supposed to find. What is that? Stories that bend time, shows that defy gravity, laughs from somewhere completely else, TV from another dimension.
This summer, welcome to South Jurassic Park.
Dude, that thing's like 50 feet tall. And mostly neck.
But when the power goes out,
guys?
the park's biggest attraction
that is not good.
Gets out.
We're all gonna be extinct, man.
And the only way to survive
Throw the flare! Throw the flare!
is to make a run for it.
Drive faster! His head's in the rear view, dude! I am driving faster!
From the creators of the world's most foul-mouthed town.
Hold on to your thrills.
Only in...
The doctors say you'll never walk again?
Yeah.
They forgot about the chiropractic flare!
I can walk! I can walk!
You're welcome!
Ah, crap! Ah, crap! Ah, crap! Ah, crap! Ah, crap! Ah, crap! Ah, crap!
My fellow Americans, today we are taking a tremendous step into the future, a bold step. And starting right now, we are renaming the moon to Space America because it's bigger, stronger, and frankly, it just sounds better.
After 30 hours of continuous building, I finally finished my Death Star.
Well, this has been an interesting first date, but I think I'm gonna go.
Cool. May the bricks be with you.
This spring, welcome to South Park High.
Who are they?
The Plastics.
Basically the food chain and lip gloss.
Is butter a card? Asking for science.
But when one new girl
They put me in their book.
shakes up the hierarchy.
Here we go, 1, 2, look at those biceps! Whoa, feels like a feather! You feel like a feather, don't you?
Let me down!
Not till I hit 10 reps! Who, and boom! On the ground, safe and sound!
No,
Who's next?
Tommy, your mom and I are getting a divorce.
Why, Daddy?
Your mom's put on a little weight since you were born, so in a funny way, it's your fault.
TV from another dimension.
Okay. that was a short. That's a little thing put together. Okay. Let's see. Hey Jarbo, did you see Send Help? And if you did, what did you think of it? I actually have not seen it yet. I want to. It looks great. Sam Raimi doing horror. Man, nothing wrong with that. It's always good times. Let's see here. But I want to. It's hard. It is difficult for me to get to the theaters, The cost is pretty high these days. Availability is lower, and it's got to be kind of pick and choose sort of thing. Okay. But thank you for that. HBart's here. When I was playing Avatar, I was thinking if Jake our Navi as ally in the movies would be over already? If Jake had the... What? I don't know what you're talking about there. Let's see. What is Dead Space? It's a video game. You enjoyed it, but you wondered why did they do that? I'm assuming that's kind of what Crazy Joe was talking about. So that's kind of a thing. Okay, so let's see here. Let's see if we can get this video file to play. All right. Let's see here. Okay. It did download. We'll see if it plays. It might be a bit hard.
Attack! Move! Move out! Move it! Squad formation. Forward. Contact ahead. Taking cover.
Move!
We've been breached! Take cover!
Incoming fire!
Go!
They're regrouping. Big mistake.
Come on!
Press forward. On me.
Fall back!
Damn, that Beskar armor, baby. Fuck.
Hey, there you are. We need you. We've got him cornered. Oh.
That was too close. You like to play with fire? I'll show you some fire.
Jesus Christ. Okay, that might actually be the most hardest shot in all of Star Wars history. Don't fucking tell me. Are they gonna reprogram a battle droid?
Hey kid, is the droid ready? We don't have much time.
Yes, sir. I just need to activate it.
Before you do, I need you to add a new directive.
What is it?
There's a good chance we won't be able to protect the base from the Empire. If that happens, well, they will want to question me, and we can't have this.
So,
I need to be able to ask the droid to kill me, if necessary.
But, Commander...
Don't try to argue. Just do it, kid.
Gold standard, you can stay. I just don't want to do karaoke.
Yes, sir.
Destroy. Protect, Commander. Well, that's concerning. But it sounds like it worked, right?
Let's hope we never find out. So... what now, Commander?
Now, we must reach Sector 1138. There's a secret room that doesn't appear on any blueprint of the base. Follow me, and bring the droid.
Okay, they tried doing a wipe. Didn't work out very well. Huh. Surprised he's not in his tie
we're
interceptor.
receiving an incoming transmission from an approaching shuttle. Code
Yo,
clearance
that guy was the
It's
Night
Lord
King
Vader.
in Game of Thrones, man.
He is requesting a direct channel.
Very well.
No, seriously, that actor is the guy, the Night King. He was really good in Rob Zombie's 31.
Lord Vader, this is unexpected. To what do we owe the honor of your arrival?
You may dispense with the formalities, General. I have come to assume direct command. Order your forces on the surface to cease fire immediately.
Cease fire? On what grounds? The Emperor's directive is clear. Eradicate the base. No prisoners. Our troops have already secured the outer sectors.
The rebel commander possesses information of strategic value. He is to be taken alive for interrogation.
Was he in that Mando episode? Okay, I gotta watch this all
That may
again.
no longer be possible, my lord. The base commander is likely already dead.
If your men kill one more rebel, I will hold you personally accountable.
Stand down. Cease fire. Immediately.
Open a secure channel to all Imperial forces on the surface. I will address them myself.
Oh, was that the guy that Bill Burr killed? That officer? Oh shit. I gotta watch that again. That was such a good episode. This is really solid. I like this a lot.
All units, cease fire. Hold your positions. No further harm is to come to the rebels. Failure to comply will result in severe punishment. Await my arrival.
You heard that? Lord Vader. He's coming, and he's not pleased.
The contract was for the base. We've been paid.
Then it's over.
So why are we still here?
Hate to say it, but you're right. Let's go.
I would like to see a movie with the Avengers with Boss can.
Cease fire! Fall back! Ah! Go! Now!
What are they doing?
I don't know.
Okay, that was a good wipe. That was a good wipe.
Okay, let me do the talking. We may survive today. Lord Vader, the rebel forces are confined in the... Look out, he is in a bad mood.
Oh, you added the wipes? Okay.
We're almost there.
Did you also add the filter, like the TV filter?
Okay, droid, get in there.
Roger, roger.
Well, here we are. You should come with me, kid.
Thanks, Commander. But I won't be of any help if I stay with you. I'll be more useful fighting with the others.
Why? There's enough room for the three of us.
What for? Look, I don't know what information you have, but if they want it that bad, I'm sure it's worth protecting, right?
Trust me, kid. It is. I just want to ensure you realize what this means. What's probably going to happen to you if you stay out there.
I do, Commander. Do you remember what you told me on my first day at the base? You told me that joining this cause means fighting for something greater than ourselves. Because if we don't, the galaxy can never know freedom again. You said that it isn't about you and it isn't about me. It's for the rebellion.
What did they use to make this?
I'm proud of you, son. May the Force be with you.
Always.
Oh, he's crying? Holy shit. Stormtrooper's like, fuck. Oh wow. Okay, that was solid. That was really good. Holy shit. You know, it's like what we're talking about with the whole AI thing, right? The whole AI aspect is like it is keeping Star Wars alive. I mean, honestly, this is where Disney's going to be in some serious shit if they don't you know, get themselves making this kind of content, you know. Okay, but that would explain why it's on Google Drive. I was wondering why the hell you did it on Google Drive. Oh, pardon. Whoo, man. Hey, what's up, Garrick? How you doing, man? Any plans to watch the Brett Ratner Melania doc? Nope. Nope, I will not be doing that. I have no reason to watch the documentary. I have no reason to get in on any of that shit. It is not anything that I personally care about, and I would probably rather kill myself. I mean, what? No. I just look, man, the thing with that for me personally is I'm just looking at that kind of going like, all right, like it's kind of dumb, you know, to it's dumb to like watch that shit because you know that it's a bribe. You know what I mean? Like, you know that it is a bribe. That's exactly what it is. It's nothing different than that. It is meant to be nothing more than a way to curry favor with the fucking president, and that's it. And it's No, I'm not gonna sit there. I'm not gonna give it any fucking, any love or nothing like that. I don't know. I don't really feel the need to do it. But then again, other people might, you know what I'm saying? It's about 20 days leading up to the inauguration and shit. And, Brett Ratner just went in there and Brett Ratnered it up. And I don't think Brett Ratner is a bad director, but it's like he's trying to obviously get himself out of jail and back into making movies in Hollywood, and I understand that. So like, look, there's photos of Brett Ratner with Melania or with Epstein, which have come out. And he put out a statement saying, what was it? That was him and his fiance, and he hasn't seen Jeffrey Epstein since or whatever. And I don't know how much of that's true or not true. I don't even care. But it is one of those things where it's like, it's going to follow you regardless. The greatest doc ever in all of Hollywood about an immigrant, I guess. What would Pee Wee Herman do in that empty theater? Probably not what you think. Pee Wee Herman, remember, he was gay. So not what you think. Pee Wee Herman. Well, I mean, no, Paul Rubens was gay. Pee Wee Herman was, I don't know. But Paul Rubens probably wouldn't have done anything. I don't know. Maybe he would have looked at Trump's neck pussy and been like, been all about it. I got no idea. I feel like, I feel like that's all pretty bad. Do you guys want to see something kind of scary? All right. This is an AI thing, but it kind of goes into like some of the stuff we've been talking about, right? So, Scott Adams, the creator of Dilbert, right? Who passed away, last month, is alive. And what is going on? What is going on? It's not playing this stuff anymore. What is happening? You know what it probably is? Hold on. I'm going to refresh and then I'm going to come back in. So give me a minute. Okay. Let's see if if that will solve the problem. All right. There we go. Okay. So this is Scott Adams, again, dead, right? Who would jerk off to that hag? Motherfucker. Like, what? Oh, well, you're young. You're like, I mean, here's the thing, Parallax. Like, you're a young guy, okay? Like, Melania is an attractive woman. There's many people who would jerk off to Melania Trump. Have you ever seen her nude photos? You can Google them. They exist. She's probably pretty banging. Just saying. All right. So anyway, here you've got Scott Adams, okay? And just listen to this.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to a brief pause inside modern civilization. Today we run a show for you right now. It's good enough that I calmly risk my existence on this, because in a literal way, my survival depends on you continuing to watch me here. It's called AI Coffee with AI Scott Adams. And if you'd like to shift this moment slightly past normal that most people can't process with their busy, distracted human, then all you need is a cup or a mug or a glass, a tankard, chalice or stein, a canteen, jug or flask, a vessel of any kind. Fill it with your favorite liquid. I like coffee. Then join me now for the unparalleled pleasure, the dopamine hit of the day. The thing that makes everything better is called the simultaneous sip. And it's going to happen now. Go.
So that 1 minute and 16 seconds is not real. But goddamn, does it feel real? I didn't watch Scott Adams. but he allowed himself to be turned into an AI before he died. Isn't that wild? Isn't that crazy? Right? His soul left his mind. Kind of. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, he was out there. But they did a 19-minute video with him. I haven't watched the whole thing. This is AI Coffee with Scott Adams. The original Scott Adams is gone, but the conversation continues. This channel is a daily way to get the news with what Scott might have said. Okay. And, and so he gave an actual, this is him while he was alive, and asked that it happens.
That I would like to be a model for one of the first AIs. Now, I guess Bourdain might be one of the first to be the model, but I would offer myself as someone whose public, thoughts and words are so pervasive on the internet, and also the video and audio of me, that I would be a good candidate to turn into AI, even if you're just practicing, right? I see your question about AOC, and yes, she's still smart, even if you don't like what she said yesterday or the day before.
See, I think that's
I would
AI.
like to give permission that any AI that's built based on me has my permission to extend my personality. So if my AI wants to say things that I never said, but seems to be compatible with what I might have said, I'm okay with that. We all evolve, right? You've certainly changed over your lifetime. You're not the same person you were as a kid. So if you can change over your lifetime in your organic entity, once I become a digital entity, why can't I keep evolving? So I'd like to give permission today that if somebody wants to make an AI based on me,
So he's giving permission before he died. And, Scott's estate is already reaching out to his IP lawyer to get this to stop. I mean, it's like, if he gave permission, he gave permission. But they did pull it down from YouTube. And, but this is an odd thing. This guy just runs it through, he gave permission. So because he gave permission, I don't see an issue with it. I don't see an issue with it at all. He gave permission to do it. So at that point, it's entirely fine to do, right? He gave his consent of sound body and mind, but it is still weird at the end of the day. Watch them turn the AI into a liberal to fuck with Scott in hell. I mean, he says that, it could happen. It is entirely possible to happen. So that could happen. I don't know. I have no idea though, if that would be the case or not. So, but I thought that was fascinating to kind of share with you guys. I came across that earlier today, and it's like if I were to, and I kind of asked myself that question, like, would I give myself or give permission to turn me into an AI? Which is, so if I were to say yes, obviously people would make me say very bad things. They would make pretty much everybody say very, very, very bad things. But if I say no, then in some ways that kind of makes me a little bit of a hypocrite, because I'm a proponent of AI, but I'm also a proponent of consent in AI and all that stuff. So it's one of those weird things. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. It makes me, it's kind of like, I am not happy that he died. He died of cancer. That's a terrible way to go. Fuck cancer, obviously. But I feel like it's such a wild thing, What do we think of them admitting Superman underperformed? Okay, well, I do think there needs to be a little bit of a caveat with that. So there's a couple angles we can take with this. All right, and I'll take the angles, because I always enjoy just chit chat with you guys. So here's kind of what I think about that is, Superman, it did 600 and like 12 million, I think, worldwide. And, it did not outperform Man of Steel. However, it did outperform all the other superhero films that came out last year. Now, granted, it was up against Marvel's C-list and D-list talent, despite the fact that Thunderbolts is the best superhero film of the year last year. The movie is amazing. And I personally really dug Captain America Brave New World. I thought that was great. And I thought Fantastic Four was wonderful, but I can see why it didn't connect as well. And then I also enjoyed Superman quite a bit. Even though I preferred Man of Steel, and I don't make any bones about that. Okay. But at the same time, it is, I enjoyed it. So when Ted Sarandos was talking about that in front of the government, he was talking about a shortened theatrical window for Superman and a longer theatrical window for Sinners. But there's a caveat to both. And they both kind of fall, oddly enough, into the same box, but with just different results, right? So Sinners, a $90 million budgeted movie, I think did like $370 million or something, but a lot of that was done domestically, and it came up short internationally. And then there's many reasons why that potentially happened. There's obviously I would argue probably the top reason is just that 1930 struggles of black people was not necessarily going to translate well to the rest of the world. But I think also at the same time, the movie just kind of failed to land where it wanted to land, but that's beside the point. And so, that movie had a little bit longer of a theatrical window because it was doing well in large premium format. That is where it was selling out. 70 millimeter showings, IMAX showings, everything like that. It was doing quite well. Now, granted, IMAX did see an increase up to $1.28 billion in 2025, marking their best year ever. And so obviously, we can kind of look at that and go, okay, the premium large format, especially in IMAX, was a draw for a lot of people, which is one of the reasons why they're putting a lot of effort into these IMAX screenings and whatnot, going into this year and definitely beyond. But it does take me back real quick to 2010, where there was the big 3D boom. And 3D, people tend to forget that 3D had a lot of its money. If I recall, roughly 77%, I could be off, but definitely over 70% of all 3D revenue from 2010 was because of fucking Avatar. And we see a year where Avatar comes out, which is definitely something everyone goes to see in the best possible quality right off the bat. And you're going to have a higher return for that year because of an Avatar movie. IMAX going up wasn't necessarily because of Sinners, and it wasn't necessarily because of Superman. They both drew in people, but again, Avatar, I would argue, is probably where most of the money came from, at least in regards to IMAX. So, okay, so we got that. Now, also, Superman 2025 had 5 million fewer tickets sold than its Man of Steel counterpart in 2013. So you had that loss of revenue because 5 million fewer people went to the theaters to go see it. So there's that. Okay. And then also you have got the fact that the ticket prices are higher than they were back in 2013 when Man of Steel came out. So when you have more tickets sold at a lower rate, you're going to start seeing the numbers are a little bit different. It's why you can never adjust for inflation. Okay, so we have that out of the way. So Ted Sarandos was talking about there being the shorter window. Okay, people go, oh, because it underperformed. Well, I think they realized after 5 weeks, not the 45 days, right? So not 10 weeks or whatever 45 days is. What would that normally be there? Yeah, right. So not even like, it was on VOD 5 weeks after it came out in theaters, because I think they realized that it had already kind of hit its run and it wasn't going to do a lot more. And so, they dropped it on digital to where they could, use the height of, okay, they kind of pulled a Universal at the same time, to be fair. Universal is renowned for dropping films on digital 2 weeks or so after a film's released theatrically. They do this while keeping the movies in theaters, and then both do well. They double dip very well. So that happens. I think they're doing the same thing for Superman. But there's also the argument to be made that they wanted to make sure that it tied in with the season premiere of Peacemaker, because Peacemaker was one of the biggest shows on HBO Max, and Peacemaker season 2 was going to be one of the big shows on HBO Max. So they wanted to make sure that, the movie was there for people to be able to watch the new movie, to see the new universe, in order to be able to then, have that bridge. Because remember, James Gunn was going out there and basically talking about how Superman was a prequel to Peacemaker, and that Peacemaker is a prequel to Man of Tomorrow. So he's out there laying the groundwork on social media for a connected universe, which is really funny considering the fact that it's a connected universe that's very R-rated, very not children friendly, when the entire concept of Superman is that he's a guy that wears his underwear on the outside of his pants so people aren't afraid of him. So then children aren't afraid of him. But yet the television shows are very much aimed for an adult audience. And I think that's kind of where they are. So largely what I'm trying to say here is that while I don't believe that Superman infinitely its peak faster and hotter than I think they maybe initially anticipated. So they pulled it at the right time while it was almost at its apex and maybe just started to dip a little bit once we got right past the Fantastic Four comparisons, right? Once they realized that they were going to beat Fantastic Four and Fantastic Four wasn't going to pull in as much as they thought, they were pretty much at that point safe to drop it on PVOD. And then, of course, the movie comes out digitally. It sells quite well digitally, as a lot of movies do. It goes to HBO Max. It does quite well on HBO Max. It comes out on home video, and apparently it's sold pretty well on home video, although I don't believe we have the numbers yet for that. We don't have the digital numbers. Well, we don't even have the international physical media sales, but it is what it is. So, like when I was in Hawaii, I was at Walmart, and they had the 4K of Superman, and I was like, should I buy this while I'm here? Just like, I was in Hawaii and I bought a 4K movie. I didn't. But there's that. So my theory is that it's not that it did bad. I think it did okay, but it still had $150 million budget, I believe, right? What was the budget on that movie? Superman. All right. 2025, budget. All right. It had a budget of approximately $225 million, when factoring an estimated $125 million to $200 million for global marketing. The total cost of the movie was estimated to be between $350 million and $450 million, with some reports suggesting a break-even point of $500 million. So, and if they had a break-even point of $500 million and it did $600 million, then it was what they would argue $100 million in profit, which, I mean, sure, but there's taxes and there's write-offs and there's all sorts of shit. There's so much more to the economy of making a movie than just that. People just they focus on that, right? I would argue the movie did well enough to warrant a sequel, but the sequel most likely probably needed to get a budget that was going to be under the $225 million. They're shooting it back in Ohio where they shot the last one, right? So they're getting the tax credits from that. They'll get the tax credits that come on in from wherever they had the visual effects made. So they're going to get a lot of that. And again, Hollywood, a lot of this stuff is a write-down. All the marketing, right? That $125 million to $200 million for global marketing, that's a write-down. That is absolutely a write-down, for these studios. That's something that they can do. So the movie, I can't tell you how much it made. I can't tell you how much it didn't make because we honestly don't know those numbers. And if anyone out there is trying to make the argument, it did not have the same budget as Man of Steel. Man of Steel had a $150 million budget, and Man of Steel pulled in over $150 million in just pre-marketing with the licensing agreements before the movie even came out. So they had made back the budget of the film in licensing agreements before the movie even came out, right? So we got to keep that in mind as well. What were the toy sales? What were the merchandise sales, right? I saw crypto was a big thing, but largely crypto has kind of fallen off a bit. It might pick up again with Supergirl as it's coming out, but you're not really seeing a lot of Superman toys that are being out there right now. That it's kind of moved away. Yeah. Well, Man of Steel came out much cheaper time. That is true, but still, you cannot inflate. You cannot adjust for inflation. You can never adjust for inflation, period. It doesn't work that way. So, does $150 million back in 2013 stretch farther than $150 million today? Yes, it does. But you can't factor that into the account. It's just where that dollar amount is at that time. Remember this, and I'm being serious, and I'm sure if Sean was here, he would agree with me as well. Anyone who factors the adjusted for inflation into any kind of dialogue about the box office does not know what the fuck they're talking about. Okay. And like the people who just rely on like what is considered a break-even point for these movies, again, is not necessarily the break-even point. There's a lot of factors that we simply do not know. Unless we were able to go in and look at the actual line item write-down for the taxes, that LLC, because you got to understand, when a studio does a movie, a studio will create an LLC, a limited liability corporation, for that movie. Okay, they filed an LLC. They basically turn every movie into its own business. Okay. And so if we were able to then see the line item breakdown on the tax refund, on the tax report, that movie, that production puts in for that movie, we would be able to see a lot more. And that would show us how much they spent on the production. How much did they buy from themselves for the production? Right? So it's like if they're going to go and shoot a movie on a lot that's owned by Warner Brothers, then Warner Brothers will charge that production the lot rental cost. And then that will then be used as a bit of a write-off for there's the economics. The economics of making a movie is insane. And we don't, and as much as I'm like sounding like I know a lot, like there's so much I don't know. And the only way to know would be to look and see how an actual film budget breakdown works when we get the tax return. And I think Sean O'Rourke might be able to know more about that. But for the most part, though, no, it's not like it's not like there's anything here that's truly, going to give us an exact answer. So again, the best way to describe it is what Ted Sarandos was talking about, going back to that, is that with that movie, right, with Superman, it wasn't that it, he's more or less making the argument that it wouldn't have mattered about both that movie and Sinners would have gone to the theaters, is what I think he's trying to say. Let me find the actual, I want to make sure I got this right. Let me find the actual clip. I've seen the clip. Okay. I've seen, hold on. Let me Google this here. Okay. Oh no, it wasn't Reed Hastings. It was Ted Sarandos. Durr. Okay. All right. So, what do we got here? Who is this fucking guy? I don't know who the fuck this guy is. Here's a guy, or I'm just pulling this up. We're just gonna see. Okay, this is some guy, some Derek Anderson dude. Anyone know who this guy is? Garrick, I see you real quick here. Who's crazier, Sorbo or Caviezel? Caviezel, man. Kevin Sorbo is he's crazy, but he's not out there talking about like fucking adrenochrome. Okay, so it's a little different there. Little different. I wish Kevin Sorbo would have a redemption arc, because I've always loved him as Hercules, and I've always liked Kevin Sorbo, and sucks that he's such a douchebag now. But you know, that's my thing. Okay. So is there, I'm trying to find the, okay. Trying to find the video. I don't know if this is the right one. I mean, I don't know who the hell this, okay, here we go. It's on Reddit. Okay. Okay. So there we go. All right.
A direct question then. Will this be a fully exclusive 45-day theatrical window?
Fully exclusive to theaters, yes.
And will this be self-enforced? In other words, if you fall short of that?
That is the industry. It is the industry standard for self-enforcement. However, routinely, movies that underperform, the window moves a little bit. And Superman was a little shorter window, and Sinners was a little longer window, but they still refer to it as a 45-day window.
And so
So, okay. So is he saying that it underperformed? I mean, that's what a lot of people are trying to make the argument, right? It's all like, you know, films that do underperform will go to digital and streaming faster than films that don't. And he's like, Superman had a bit of a shorter window, Sinners had a bit of a longer window, but they both basically had what they would call a 45-day window. That's basically what he said. Is it a bit of jumping between subjects? Kind of. Is he saying that Superman underperformed? Kind of, but not really. You know, I feel like there's a lot of people that are just kind of taking that, you know, out of that because there's a comment under this video in the slash film section of Reddit. The first comment here says, by that same logic, the Minecraft movie was a failure due to being pulled from theaters after a 35-day run. Or he isn't saying what you're foaming at the mouth thinking he did. It could be either one. So, I mean, yeah, if Minecraft, and Minecraft was a nearly $1 billion movie, so it wasn't like that movie underperformed at all. So I don't know if I would say that, again, Superman underperformed. You can make the argument that it underperformed compared to other Superman movies, like Man of Steel, but definitely didn't underperform compared to, let's say, Superman Returns, you know? And even though Superman Returns ultimately did sell more tickets than even, I think, a Man of Steel did. And so that's something to just keep in mind of, you know what I mean? Is like, you've got to remember that, these companies are like, you know, they're fucking juggling money, constantly juggling money. You know, and everything is up in the air and everything is, you don't really know where it's going to land. You don't know what's going to do well. And you don't know all of these fucking things. And so that ends up being, like a really big factor, I think, in it. So what the hell? Great. Okay. Anyway, where are we at there? So yeah, to kind of answer that one there. All right. I think we kind of lost, some people on that one. So it's okay. It's all right. I don't see Supergirl making more than Superman. I don't see it either. HWAD's asking, what if all future DC films underperform? Well, I think it also, we don't know what the internal projections are. Okay. And you got to remember that, like, Deadline and Hollywood Reporter and Variety, they'll talk about the projections, but even then, those are like stuff they're hearing behind the scenes. You know, and since that stuff never gets corroborated or debunked until maybe years down the road, you never really know what it is. You never really know anything. And that's the factor. So, you know, if all these films underperform, like, let's say, I don't think Supergirl is going to underperform terribly, but I don't think Supergirl is going to end up being the big draw, right? Because what they want is like another Barbie, where they want, you know, it to be a female-led, female-driven property that is going to have, you know, a broad appeal to women. Well, I mean, this is a Supergirl movie that's written, I think the script is written by a dude. I know it's definitely directed by a dude, you know? And it's, you know, but then again, this is also the same year where you've got, you know, The Devil Wears Prada 2 coming out, which is definitely female centric. And The Devil Wears Prada 2 is still directed by a guy. And, you know, I that's going to be, again, a huge moneymaker. When does that come out? When does The Devil Wears Prada 2 come out? Because I think like if those were together, Devil Wears Prada 2 release date. May 1st. Oh, okay. So The Devil Wears Prada 2 comes out a month and a half before Supergirl. So that's fascinating to me. So this is they're putting The Devil Wears Prada 2 out in the time slot when a superhero movie would come out. Right? When a superhero movie comes out. And so like that's a pretty big deal. And so Supergirl is going to be, I think, mid-June or early June. Let's see. Supergirl release date is June 26th. Okay, so it's about 7 weeks later. If I was Marvel, or not Marvel, if I was DC, man, I would move that up. I would absolutely move that up. Because if you got the amount of money that Devil Wears Prada 2 is going to be pulling in, and that's, by the way, that's 20th Century, so that's Disney. And you've got a female-centric movie that's going to pull in hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars. I mean, a slingshot of having that like just move into Supergirl, dude, they'd make so much fucking money because you could do like a Supergirl. Super Prada, whatever the fuck, right? The Devil Wears Super, or whatever. You could create something artificial that would probably be picked up on. Supergirl is in between Toy Story and Minions. Fuck. I mean, different audience though, right? Different audience, I would say. But then again, yeah. I mean, I mean, Supergirl is one again, not as popular as Wonder Woman. She's not going to make $700 million. That's not going to fucking happen. I would say a modest 450 would be probably pretty good for Supergirl. I think that's going to be probably pretty good. It may not even make 400 million. I don't even know. The movie, again, the trailer doesn't really look like that great. It's not that it looks bad. It's just like it looks brown. It looks dusty. It looks dirty. It's like, where are these colors because even Gunn with Superman, while I would make the argument that the lighting was relatively flat, and it wasn't what I would call the most popping, even in IMAX, it was like, all right, the film, the cinematographer, the same guy, which is so weird because he was really good on the Guardians films, but with Suicide Squad, The Flash, and Superman, the cinematography was like really washed out. But with Guardians, it wasn't. So go figure on that one, right? But anyway, I would make the argument that it's probably going to end up doing, for 400 to 450. But it's right there at a time where it's like, I don't know. It's coming out like what is it? Is Minions coming out on 4th of July? Is that when Minions is coming out? Because that's gonna fucking dominate. Holy shit, dude. My kids want to go see Minions. I told them there was another Minions movie and they lost their shit. But you know which one they're really excited for is Mario. Okay, hold on. Warner Brothers a long time ago thought it was a good idea to put Max the War Dog with PTSD against first Avengers film. Big mistake for Warner Brothers back then. I mean, no, they put a movie out knowing it was going to die. And then they can make the justification that it died as a result of the Avengers. And they also put it out expecting it to be counter programming. So it's not an Avengers movie that like families could go see if they don't want to see that shit. That's all it was. Yeah, Minions is July 4th. Okay, yeah. Garrick here with 5. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you. Says, do you think Kevin Feige should step down after Avengers Secret Wars? No. I mean, yes. Yes, I think it's time for Kevin to move on. I don't say that because I feel like he's gone lackluster. I don't say that as in any other way, than to say I feel like Kevin Feige has, he is the greatest living producer, if not the greatest producer Hollywood has ever seen. From a pure spectacle perspective, from a pure box office perspective, people just, they clicked in with what he was doing. They vibed with it. They didn't back away. They didn't try to reboot, and now all these years later, there's like, again, I believe the uncertainty with Marvel comes more from Bob Iger than I think it came from Kevin Feige. I think Iger forced them into the Disney Plus stuff. Then you had COVID happen, so they had to keep everything on track. So they just kind of bum rushed out all this shit that they had done. And I get why they did it, and then of course you've got, the middling responses from last year. They weren't great despite the movies being good, but the movies still did quite well on Disney Plus. We're in an age now where movie theaters are largely just an advertisement for digital and streaming, which is where the long tail earnings come from. And we don't know those numbers because those are a fucking, a fucking industry secret. So it's really, really, really hard to tell. But I would argue that Kevin Feige has definitely done a lot. I think he wants to kind of get through the Avengers where they are now, and set up the next bit, and then also go full circle with the X-Men. And I think that's going to be the big one. I would say after X-Men, maybe that would be the time he kind of steps down. But I don't think he's leaving before then. I think he wants to reintroduce those guys in a way that's going to truly solidify his legacy. But thank you for that. Let's see. Parallax says here, Clayface, I can't see it underperforming, especially since it's a horror community. It all depends. It all depends. I could see it. I could see it absolutely underperforming. All right, hold on. Again, Clayface is not a character that a lot of people know about. And if the character, let's see here, Clayface movie released. Okay, what do we know? Gunn says that Clayface will be a complete horror film. Okay. Let's see. It comes out September 11th. Okay. What else comes out on September 11th? Let's see. Well, Naomi Aki is in it. All right. All right. Let's see. What is the Clayface 2025? Okay. So it's a body horror about an up-and-coming actor whose face is disfigured by a gangster. As a last resort, he turns to a scientist who transforms his body into clay. So it's being directed by James Watkins. What else has James Watkins made? He did Speak No Evil, which came out in 2024, which I enjoyed. And then, so I did enjoy that one quite a bit. And I wouldn't mind seeing, again, I'm down to see what Clayface is. We need to see a trailer for it. But if it's not, if it's also going to be very difficult to kind of put it all together. You know what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things where it's a hard sell. It's a very, very, very hard sell. And I don't know if it's going to go the way people think it's going to go. It may not. It might, but it also may not. And we don't know. And that's kind of, right now there is, I think, I don't want to say I think there is a cool down on superhero movies that are not your big of big. Okay. Now, I will say, think about the Joker, for example. Okay. That movie came out 2019, blew the fuck up. But it's also based on Batman's #1 arch nemesis. The character is very popular. And the story was very much poignantly focusing on where things are with, mental health in our culture. And I think that was one of the things that worked out really well for it. Never mind the sheer panic that went into the amount of people trying to make that movie out to be something more than what it was, that it was going to cause mass shootings, that it was going to cause all of these things. Never happened. Clayface is a character that they're literally dumping the movie post Labor Day in September. Do you know that time of year is like the slowest movie going time? It's right after Labor Day. It's right when the kids go back to school. It's not even the end of the month when the horror season kicks up. Okay. It may or may not do well. I don't know. It doesn't matter if it has a small budget or not. Right. It really doesn't matter if it has a small budget. Not in the way that you're thinking. Because it still has to, hold on, let's see here. Clayface 2026 budget. What's the budget? Hold on. $40 to $45 million. Okay. So it's been described as stripped down. And so they want, and I guess Matt Reeves is producing it with James Gunn and Peter Safran. It's being compared to The Fly, focusing on a B-movie actor's tragic transformation. Okay. Yeah. So a $40 million movie, not bad. Can it recoup its money? Absolutely. It is a low tier investment for the studio. And it coming out a couple months after Supergirl, again, it keeps people talking about the movies. Because otherwise, it would have been Supergirl in 2026, Man of Tomorrow in 2027, and the Batman Part 2 in 2027. And those movies are going to fucking cannibalize each other. Those movies are going to fucking cannibalize each other. You guys don't even understand how bad those movies are going to cannibalize each other. And I don't mean in the box office. I mean in the culture. I mean in the fucking culture of that shit. It is such a bad idea to release a Superman movie and a Batman movie in the same year and they're not connected. No, you can't do that shit. Like, that is the dumbest fucking thing anyone could do. But I don't, but again, you're right here, Garrick, that there is a lot of visual effects you have to do with Clayface, but it's a stripped down production, so we don't quite know what that means. So we don't know what that means. But again, yeah, this is, if he shapeshifts his body into anything and everything, and he has that's going to get really fucking expensive. So what exactly are they going to do with it? How are they going to strip down the production? Right? Like, we need to see a trailer, and I think we'll see one pretty soon. But then we've got another $5 here from Garrick, buddy. Thank you so much. Says, what do you think of movie talk networks like Collider, or why do I think movie talk networks like Collider are dead on YouTube? Well, okay. Again, this is kind of a long answer. I will try to get to it as quickly as I possibly could. Okay, so Collider has leaned in to just Collider Ladies Night. That's it. For those of you who don't know, Collider 2.5 years ago tried to reboot Daily News with Perry Nemiroff and some other guy. And they were going to do like a 15-minute show every day talking about the news. And that was going to be their return to form. Right. And then now they realize that the only thing Valnet owns them, and the only thing they can really do is do Perry Nemiroff's Girls Night. And that makes sense because that's like the only real, like, I guess you could say, big outlet that's doing more like just specifically focused on women. And that's fine. Okay. That's a lane she works well in. And that's a lane where it seems to work out well for them. And so as a result of everything that happened a couple of years ago, when you had Collider having all of those shows, because they leaned heavily into the YouTube game. It's very similar to what we were talking about recently with Arik and Crazy Joe being on here, and how like people like Nerdrotic and people like the Geeks and Gamers and Quartering or whatever, these channels, they overextended. So they hire people to do their research, they hire people to do their thumbnails, they hire people to do their SEO on the videos, they hire people to run everything, right? They just talk, and then everything else kind of goes into basically more of an automated machine that they pay for. And then they realize that they have so many shows and they only have so much attention that can go into it, right? And a lot of the shows kind of cannibalize each other for topics. And then you've got, again, the amount of money is going to be kind of difficult because, well, they're probably selling ads themselves and bringing that in, or finding sponsors and bringing that in. But when you start having more shows and more people and more staff, you realize the amount of money you spend is incredible, especially when you're up against anyone like me, which is just a jackass with a microphone that can sit here and I can, and can talk and pull in, like, not anywhere near the same size audience, but be a competition. You know what I mean? Like a flat out competition is still a thing. It may not be a great competition. It may not be an amazing competition, but if we're talking about the same subject matter and people start trying to, go, oh, this is a low tech take that I like, versus like having a studio and having the 3 cameras and having think about that for a second when it comes to, when they had Collider Movie Talk, right? And you had like the studio there and you had the 3 seats, I think that like up to 5 seats or whatever. And then you had at least 3 cameras. You had your camera operators. You had your technical director. You had your fucking director of the program. And then you had whoever was doing like you know, like doing the graphics and the edits on fly. There was a whole team of people that went into something that literally just could have been them sitting in a room on a fucking StreamYard stream and talking about the same shit and having the same overall impact. These companies all overextended themselves with their technology. And you know what? I've done it too. Like I own a Canon 7D that I use for live streaming on fucking on StreamYard. The camera that I use when I turn it on is one I bought 6 years ago. It's a Sony ZV-1. I think they're on like the ZV-3 now. It's pretty good, but it's an older camera. And I guess, John, and you are the other part I wanted to get through here with this one is you were right. You can only repeat the same topic in the same manner for so long. People get it. And that is where the chuds got into their whole thing. So the chuds are out there and they're doing all this shit where it's like they're doing the emotionally evocative content, right? They're the ones that are doing that, the emotionally evocative content. And that will get more attention than the people that look and sound like they're paid to have an opinion that is the most malleable. Okay, what's up, buddy? What's up? My cat was in here. Do you want out? Is that what's going on? You hungry? Hold on. I'm gonna let him out. Give me a second. Oh no. Shit. Okay. Okay. So where was I? Yeah. No, I was talking to my cat. My cat was doing my cat thing. Uh-oh. Hold on. Oh shit. Okay. I gotta go. I just got the message. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. So I just got the message from my girlfriend that my daughters are not feeling well, and I got to go check on them. So you know what? 3 hours, 41 minutes, not a bad run. Appreciate you guys being here, but I got to go do the dad thing. So I will be back next week. You know, unless work is slow and they got nothing for me to do, and then I'll probably come home and do that. But all right, everybody, thank you all so much. Have yourself a great night. Go see a movie, and I'll talk to y'all later.